Hey everyone, it's Michael Goosebumps fan. I'm sorry for the angle change. Me and Lou talked about this a while back when I got the new setup my wife made for me with the poster and everything for the newer videos I've been making. I have to sit down for the Q&A. Yes, this is the Q&A for the 1,000 subscriber special on my channel. I cannot believe that this even happened in November, of all things. Now, just so you know, February is typically the anniversary of the channel. We had our celebration of 1 year anniversary this past February. We were at 200 subscribers. In a year, not even that, we've hit 1,000 subscribers. Another 800 people came in on this channel this year, and that is absolutely incredible. And I genuinely think that as stressed as people are with the quarantine and with the corona thing, I think with all that going on and all that being said, God has really used that to allow people to have some kind of entertainment at their house, even though I'm not that entertaining, but people had something to watch, Goosebumps fan-wise, in their houses in 2020. And I'm thankful for every single one of you who have come to this channel and commented and discussed things with each other and become a community, a real, actual, thriving community. We don't really see a whole lot of infighting. The other day I had a person who was probably 30, I believe is what this person's age was or so, somewhere in that ballpark, who was talking about how we should all be proud of the fact that on this channel there's not a whole lot of that kind of drama nonsense. And I have my trolls. I have that kind of thing. Who cares? But 2020 has been a crazy year, but I want to thank you guys genuinely for everything that you have done for me, for this community, for how awesome you guys are, how much fun you guys are to talk to. You guys are always really enjoyable. There's so many people that I can talk to about anything Goosebumps-wise in this channel alone. And I'm thankful for that, because it's such a fun thing, it's such a cool hobby. I was talking to a newer YouTuber that just started a couple of days ago, who's been watching my content apparently. His name is Goosebumps Completionist, and I really like his videos. If you like my kind of unedited type thing, you would like his content. Very genuine guy. I talked to him a couple of times last night in the comments section on one of his videos. Very brand new collector too, and a big comic book lover as well, just like myself. So we have a lot of stuff like that in common. So if you like the kind of things that I like, you might like his content as well. I wanted to throw that out there. I'm not just trying to like randomly throw out people's names out there. If I find more people who commented in the video I put up for this announcing the Q&A about a week or so ago, if I see them, and I'll mention their names, because there's people who have subscribed to me who asked me to subscribe to them. I watch their content. They're pretty good videos. There's a lot of good people that review good stuff in the community, and I'm really excited about that. You know, Goosebumps there for a while, we only had a few subscribers, or not a few subscribers, but a few big YouTubers and media people for Goosebumps community stuff for like the last couple of years. Outside of me, I mean. And it's kind of a shame, frankly. I think it deserves a whole lot more because of what Stein's put into this stuff. It's like his whole life, you know, this on Fear Street. I have kind of an indigestion thing going on, by the way, just wanted to let you know. That's why I might stop in the middle of my answers and whatnot. But, yeah, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you being here. And, again, I hope you guys know I pray for you like every single day. Not individually, but I try to in the sense of, God, please help all these people. That kind of thing. But, again, for a crazy year, I've been blessed tremendously to be married to my wonderful wife, and so many people that have supported me. My family supports me tremendously as well. I just could not thank you all enough for being so loving and supportive here on the channel. Now, once again, for anybody who hasn't attended one of my Q&As before, I'm a rambler. If you've seen any of my videos before, you know that. I'm going to try my best this time to save myself some issues, save myself from having some dry throat and dry mouth and stuff. I brought 2 water bottles this time. I'm going to try my best to sum up my answers as fast as possible and not just ramble and tangent on. I know there's some repeat answers in here. I looked through the 63 comments that we have. I'm going to check again. I'm going to try to, announce, hey, I already answered this question, whatever, to you guys. Now, I do want to let you know this. I've had some weird problems with YouTube here lately. I looked at how you have to approve comments a lot of the time. There are some people that I know have been commenting, and I don't know if they delete their own comments or what. I know there's people like Lou who might delete theirs and then rewrite it, or they'll edit a comment. I know there's people like that down in the comment section. But there are people that I will see comment something and it doesn't make any sense why they would delete their own comment, So if you're that person, let me know, down in the comments why you deleted your comment or whatever. And I would, in this video if you want to. It's not like a forced Nazi type thing. It's just, hey, if you want to let me know why, that's why. usually before I do Q&As, I'll go to the list of comments I have to approve, just in case there's any listed for this particular video that I can comment and, you know, accept those comments and stuff. I don't censor people on my channel. If there's somebody that's deliberately being a douche, then I'll block them. I don't really care. But most of the time I don't have to do that. It's mostly just people commenting saying, hey, nice review, or hey, I really disagree with you on this. And that's fun, whatever. I'm fine about it. I'm all about free speech until you're just, you know, being obnoxious, then I'll just block you. It's not that I want you to be censored, so I just don't want to deal with you. You could say ignore it, but my channel. Free country. Get over it. Anyway, I went through and I tried to accept any kind of questions and stuff that people were asking or wanted answered, and I just hadn't gotten around to it, you know, and I didn't accept them yet until today. But I looked and there was no questions at all that had been comments on this channel for this particular Q&A announcement video that I knew people had commented certain times and then must have deleted their own comments, or either it had flagged them and called them spam or something. I tried to go through just letting you know if your comment was in this video somehow and it's not in the comment section of the video currently, not on this video but on the Q&A 1000 subscriber announcement video, if your comment's not there, it ain't my fault. Sometimes YouTube will flag these things for people who don't know. We have to go in and approve them. I only had like 5 different comments I had to approve today, so that was kind of surprising. It wasn't for this Q&A announcement video either. It was just kind of whatever. I don't really know what happened there, but I just want to let you guys know that in case you comment on anything and you think that it got deleted by me, it did not happen that way. I promise you. I don't do that. I don't do that. I actually love when people comment because it makes it kind of more engaging, you know, for me and for other viewers too who want to see what other people say. And in the future, it'll be interesting for people too who come to the channel 4 years down the road, 5 years down the road, and see other people who had commented in the past, what they had said, if they agreed with those people. It's always interesting because this community is kind of like the comic book community in the sense of we have numbered books, like I talked about with Goosebumps Completionist yesterday. I don't know. It's a nice little community, a nice little hobby to do. But I'm very thankful for all this, especially with all the hectic year that we've had and how my life has been kind of hectic this year for you guys too. I haven't been able to make the kind of content I wanted to super fast this year just because I've had a lot of crazy times. You know, my wife fell down the stairs last week. Like a month of being married, she's already getting injured. Poor thing. She's so clumsy. I love her to death, and she's so clumsy. You know, in like those sweet romance movies, there's always that woman that gets, you know, she's like head over heels in love with this dude, and then she just kind of falls down the stairs in front of him. That's the kind of stuff that happens with us, both of us, all the time. But anyway, getting into the first particular Q&A question. Well, this isn't really a question. It's from Lou, my boy. And he's congratulated me on hitting 1,000. Thank you so much, Lou. I can't believe it happened, honestly. I'm really shocked by that. Alright, Joe Foley. Hey man, just dropping by because I finally thought of a question. Do you think it would be better to jump into Slappy World or read all the Slappy books in order? I'm eager to read Wanted Haunted Mask. Okay, I'll answer the first question before I get into the other ones. Do you think it would be better to jump into Slappy World or read all the Slappy books in order? So I'll tell you this, when I started getting into Goosebumps again, when I had my back injury in 2018, I found out there were more Slappy books I didn't know about. I knew there was the original ones from the classic series that I grew up on. Didn't know anything about Series 2000. I knew Bride of Living Dummy was out there as a book, so I found that. Eventually I heard about Slappy's Nightmare. This is at the time when I found out about Goosebumps Ozzy fan. Then I found out about Slappy's Nightmare through him and some other people, and I started coming across this, and I picked up things here and left and right. I had Son of Slappy, which... that's rough. And pretty much I only wanted to read the Slappy books because that was my favorite part of Goosebumps when I was growing up, and the TV show and all those things. I didn't really care about like Monster Blood or anything like that. Had no real exposure to it aside from the first book, sort of, kinda. But I really wanted to just read the Slappy books and make videos about that. And then I had the newer Goosebumps books too, like Goosebumps Wanted the Haunted Mask, excuse me, that my grandmother and my grandfather had picked up for me years prior, like 2014, 15, somewhere in there. Probably 2013, 12, somewhere, whenever Goosebumps Wanted the Haunted Mask came out, and the first couple of those Most Wanted books, I had gotten some of those, like Frankenstein's Dog, How I Met My Monster, I think is the name of the one, with the big werewolf guy on it, I believe. Anyway, they bought a lot of those for me at one time, when Most Wanted was coming out, I believe. I think it was around 2013 or so. 2012. And I had those kind of sitting around. I eventually picked up Goosebumps and wanted the Haunted Mask because I remembered I always loved the Haunted Mask. And I was always curious about, since that book was so much bigger, if it was just the first 2 books put into one big book. It's not, which really surprised me. Could not believe the prologue when I read it. That shocked the crap out of me. So as I read Slappy books, as I bought Slappy books, like the one that has the special edition hardcover that had like the red eyes that you'd like poke the middle of the book and like the eyes would start lighting up red. Slappy had like a yellow jacket on and all that. When I got those, I just kind of, at one point, the more I read things like The Haunter, which was kind of a disappointment, the more I read things like that, and Goosebumps wanted the Haunted Mask especially, and then Zombie Halloween, all those big things like that, One Day at Horrorland, immediately I realized I wanted to collect all of these, because it was kind of like a comic book thing, again, where you had numbers on the sides of the books. So my recommendation is, it kind of depends on what you want to do. If you're in the mood just to read all the Slappy books, go for it. If you want to read just the Slappy World books, the newer books, go for it. I mean, I think you'd have a fun time, but I think the endings are usually the problems with those books, aside from It's Alive, It's Alive. Yeah, Slappy World's kind of a miss a lot of the time, but I think if you just wanted to collect everything, or read anything at any point, you could do that. Except for the Horrorland series, I recommend reading that all in order, because it's kind of tied together. If you just want to read the main story and then read the Horrorland tie-ins after you read the whole series individually, that's fine too. I think you'd be cool with that, and probably fine to do that. But overall, I think that I would just do it however you want to. I mean, it's kind of, you're going to find issues when you read Slappy books back to back, kind of like I did, because there's not really a continuity there. You know, Slappy has powers in this book that he can't utilize over in here, in this next book, and it happens all the time. And it's really obnoxious, and it really bothers me a lot, because I like continuity, but I also am a comic book reader, so I'm used to continuity not being maintained and not cared about. Stein really doesn't care about continuity either. He's said that numerous times, especially when it comes to writing sequels. He doesn't really care about that, because it's hard to maintain all the details from sequel to sequel to sequel. So I don't blame him. I feel the same way. As a writer myself, I like short stories when it comes to writing them, because they're short projects, number one. But number two, they're also easier to kind of maintain and edit quicker and get a general idea. If you want to rewrite the whole thing, you're not rewriting a 150,000 word book. You're just kind of changing around like maybe 2,000 words, maybe, depending on how long your story is. But even so, again, rambling already. I'm eager to read Wanted Haunted Mask, but kind of want to save it if it's one of the best Goosebumps books of all time. I personally love it to death. I think it's fantastic. I think it's one of the best. It has its issues. It kind of feels like 2 different Goosebumps books put into one, because there's a pumpkin patch story and there's a Haunted Mask story. And they tie together a little bit, but not severely. But they're both creepy in their own respects. They're both good as Halloween books. It's just I kind of wish that they were separate entities. I kind of wish that the 2 different halves of the book were completely different and separate, because they don't feel good together as one book, in my opinion. But it's a great book. Really great book, in my opinion. A lot of people seem to have kind of come to agreement on that generally, from what I understand. There's books like that and Zombie Halloween that a lot of people... I just talked about Goosebumps Completionist a little bit ago. Me and him were talking yesterday in his review for Zombie Halloween about how that feels like it's such a great book. A great, surprisingly creepy book, and then the finale is just barely off. Just barely. And that's a big problem with modern Goosebumps the last couple of eras, like Most Wanted, Slappy World. It happens. But I think One of the Haunted Mask is a fantastic one. It's actually tied with Ghost Camp as like my favorite of all time, personally. I really love it. I think it's just geniusly put together. That's not a word. I'm kind of like you, where I have lower standards and can still have a good time if something isn't perfect. Well, then I think you'll love it. I think you'll really love most of Goosebumps. Goosebumps is not perfect. I love it to death. It's not perfect. It's like The Twilight Zone and Tales from the Dark Side, Tales from the Crypt. They're not perfect by any means when it comes to filmmaking standard or anything, but Goosebumps, you can genuinely and generally have a great time with that if you have lower standards. Just kind of the same way I feel about movies. I'm very low standards based when it comes to movies. But if an ending is bad, I'm going to call it bad. If I like the whole movie and the ending sucks, I'll call it that too. I'm not going to shy away from that. I do that on my Strange Michael account where I review movies, pretty much just horror movies right now, because of that. I can have a lot more fun than most horror fans with movies, whether it be a slasher or just a possession movie or whatever. But if the movie's boring, I will say it. I don't care. I have nothing to lose. But even so, I'm going to go ahead and move on. I'm sorry, Joe, for rambling so long. I spent like 20 minutes on your comment. Alright, Mr. Majestic. Number one, if you were able to create the idea of a Goosebumps series, what would you come up with? Honestly, I think Goosebumps works better serialized, but also not serialized in the sense of like, well, I guess serialized would mean, you know what I mean? Like, I mean like series of individual stories. I think they all stand very episodic in a good way. I don't really like everything tied together like with Horrorland. We see how that the resounding kind of about Horrorland, I think, speaks volumes about how people actually felt about that. I think that the later books that kind of stand by themselves, like Slappy New Year, I believe is one of them that people kept talking about, stands by itself. I think a lot of people like myself enjoyed that more than Screams of the Haunted Mask and so on, having to tie it together into this big overarching thing. It was cool, but I actually think it would have benefited more as being like a 3-book series or a 4-book series with all those details thrown together for like 150 pages, because it was a fun series to read when you got to the segments of just about Horrorland. But then where they had to tack on like 40 pages at the end of every single book for like 12 or 15 books, at one point it kind of feels like they just had to do this, so they add all these other extra characters that don't really matter, that you don't really care about, that are not a Carly Beth or a Brittany or a Molly or any of those people, or Polly or whoever, whatever her name is, from the Revenge of the Living Dummy book. And they just have to keep adding more characters into this great conundrum of events. And on top of that, they have to keep adding more attractions to Horrorland that aren't as interesting as the earlier ones. Like you might have, you know, a mask shop that has kids' faces on it, on the shelves. And that's pretty terrifying. I like that a lot. But I think when you're working with episodic books in a series, again, serial as in series of books, like the original classic series, the Give Yourself Goosebumps series, I think it'd be better to do it that way. That would be my idea. I would just be generic, just stick with what was already happening anyway. Kind of like with Slappy World, a little bit. I actually think Slappy World's a generally great idea because of having Slappy, one of the most famous characters from the series, narrate certain aspects of those books and kind of be more involved as the newer mascot for the series now that Curly's kind of gone. Nobody really talks about Curly anymore. I don't think most kids now would recognize Curly. He didn't have his own books or anything like that. Cuddles isn't really recognized because Monster Blood 2's kind of been out of print forever. You know? I don't know why, but it has. It's kind of a shame. Monster Blood 2 is fantastic. It's way better than the first book. Why is the first book in print? Why? I'd understand if you wanted to put that and Monster Blood 2 in print, but why Monster Blood 1? Anyway, yeah, that would be my idea. I'm not really smart enough to come up with my own book individually, because again, I'm not good with plots. I'm good with short stories because they're small events in a character's life. Anyway, question number 2. What do you think is the scariest thing from a Goosebumps book? For example, I think the prologue for One of the Haunted Mask and the picture of Bird and Say Cheese and Die are the scariest. Personally, I think between the prologue of Zombie Halloween, which again I talked about Goosebumps Completionist, we talked about this yesterday, between that and Goosebumps One of the Haunted Mask, I think both of those prologues are two of the scariest things I've ever read. I think the urban legend moments of Ghost Camp scared me to death. I think they were genuinely some of the creepier things I've ever read in my life, much less just in Goosebumps Seclusional. There is one special edition Give Yourself Goosebumps book called One Night in Pain House, I believe is what it was. And those moments in there genuinely scared me to death. I mean, there's something like the closet scene that really got to me. I really think Goosebumps has some terrifying moments in it, but there's a lot for debate. I think the ending of Haunted Mask 2 scared me to death. When I talked about it in my review, I mean, it genuinely freaked me out. And I won't spoil it for people. I won't spoil any of those moments for people. But I think the ending of Haunted Mask 2 is one of the most surreal and horrific moments I've ever seen in my life. One of the best ones I could possibly picture in my head because of how horrific and scary it was. But again, Goosebumps One of the Haunted Mask, I think, has the most scares in any of the books. I think it has the most amount, highly, of scares in that book because of how freaky it was. Anyway, Mr. Majestic, thank you for your questions. Robert Vegas, please pick my question. Oh, I'm going to answer everybody's, man, if I can. First of all, congratulations for 1,000. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate that. My dad's name is Rob, of all things. It's kind of interesting. Number 1, where do you live? I live in Virginia, in the U.S., and it's interesting. It's very interesting right now. Question number 2, when will you upload a review for The Girl Who Cried Monster? You know, I looked the other day, it's kind of interesting. Here we go into rambling territory. I am, I think, 39 reviews into the classic Goosebumps series at this current point in 2020. I don't know if I'll get to any more classic books. I think I am for sure, God willing, going to try to read the the Beware the Snowman book for Christmas time. I haven't reviewed that yet. I do want to talk about that one soon, because I love Christmas and I love snowmen and stuff. That looks kind of fun. I think Lou spoiled the ending for me at one point. It's kind of a bummer, but oh well. If the book's good, the book will be good. I can enjoy it even if I am spoiled. I've had a lot of Goosebumps books spoiled for me because people will just put them like in the titles of their videos and spoil them in their thumbnails and stuff. Don't do that. Don't do that, and don't spoil them in a video where you're talking about Goosebumps theories. A lot of the Goosebumps theorists do that, and not everybody's read all the books, man. Not all the basic ones, like Girl Who Cried Monster. I can't wait to read that book. After I heard the way Goosebumps Ozzy talked about it years ago, I cannot wait to read that book. I think it's going to be a fun, creepy, spooky little read. It's just going to take time. I'm going to try to get around to it in 2021. Again, God willing, I'm alive and everything's going okay and I'm able to. That's my plan. I'm sorry, Rob, I just don't really have a current this year plan for that. I don't really know what I'm going to read next week. You know, I have some books here at the apartment that I don't have. I don't have my whole collection where I live. I have some here and I have some at my old house with my grandparent, or my grandfather and my mom. But I just kind of grab whatever. I have a few books here that I haven't read yet. And I'm still working on My Friend Slappy. That's pretty good so far. I'm actually really liking that. It's probably one of the better Slappy books I've read in a while, aside from Diary of a Dummy. But yeah, I haven't read it, haven't finished it yet. But Girl Who Cried Monster, I can't wait to read that. That sounds pretty good. I've heard good things, so I hope it's good. I hope you guys can hear me okay from over here. Okay, so Miss Blackberry-ish, hello from New Zealand. Wow, I have a viewer from New Zealand. I had some old friends who used to live in New Zealand. We haven't talked in years, but it's been a while. But he was cool. His name was Josiah. Anyway, Bender Bending Rodriguez. Let me try that again. I love Futurama, and his picture is Bender from Futurama. Will you ever cover other R.L. Stine properties more closely, like Ghost of Fear Street, duh, mostly Ghostly, Rotten School, Nightmare Room, and his solo stuff? Yeah, I've been trying to cover some of that over the years. Like I've covered last year, I actually covered the Halloween Night, and this year I covered Halloween Night 2. I wanted to read Halloween Party, I just didn't get around to it. You know, it just kind of happens that way sometimes. So, yeah, but not right now. I wanted to cover mostly Goosebumps right now, just because it's Goosebumps, and the channel's more Goosebumps, as you can tell from the shirt. And, yeah. So at some point, God willing, I will try to. I've kind of said over and over again, though, even in the future, when this channel is kind of done, when I'm done with the Goosebumps books, again, God willing, all that happens, then I'll probably just kind of switch over mainly to the Strange Michael YouTube channel and BitChute channel, where I review horror movies. Of any sort, slasher. By the way, if you're squeaking, that ain't me farting. That's the chair, I promise you. Because it's not doing it right now. But it was, I promise you. That thing you just heard a second ago, if you heard it, that was the chair, I promise you. I would not be well, not disingenuous, that's not the word. I would not be, what was the word? I'm too much of a Southern belle to be able to fart on camera. I have too much common decency to be able to do that. Anyway, just wanted to let you know that. I'm embarrassing the crap out of myself. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really sorry about that. But yeah, I want to cover more of his stuff, but I mainly think whenever I cover most of the Goosebumps stuff, I'm kind of done, and I'll read and review newer books as they come out from that, and I'll read a lot of kids' horror stuff as time goes on past that, too. I think I'll keep this channel for Goosebumps and things like Goosebumps, and then switch to my other channel, Strange Michael, if YouTube is still around. Again, I'm on BitChute as well as Strange Michael, not Michael Goosebumps fan anymore. So you can find me on there as well if you want to, but I'm just pretty much talking about just horror movies and books and stuff. But, yeah, I don't know. I just kind of, I want to save this channel. Even at that point when I switch over to the Strange Michael thing, let's say we talk about everything Goosebumps, then I'll kind of just come back and talk about some black and white horror films every once in a while as a things like Goosebumps thing, or, you know, any other 90s series like Shivers and stuff. I just think right now it's not really worth covering at this moment. Maybe people will have more of an interest of it down the road as the audience builds and builds. I've noticed that in the last couple of things like Goosebumps videos I've uploaded, there have been like at least 100 views on them, and that used to not be the case. You might get like 15 or 20. So it's been nice to see people kind of grow more interest in that things like Goosebumps thing, because I've tried to find stuff that I think people would like more, or things that could be in that category, like Adam Age Vampire, which was terrible. But anyway, that's me rambling again. I know some of that is young adult novels, but I really like his writing on it. And second question, what are your top 10 favorite YouTubers? No particular order. Oh man. Right now, my top favorite currently, at this current moment, is probably Red Letter Media. They review movies, and they do funny things. They're pretty much comedians, but they also used to be film editors. They're very funny, man. And I don't really like the generic YouTube scene. Like, I really don't. But I love those guys. Mike Stacklasa and Jay Bowman have to be two of the funniest people on YouTube. I don't agree with them on a lot of things, but I love them. And Rich Evans, you can't possibly not love Rich Evans. My second favorite at this current point, that I try to watch everything from him, but honest to God, his output is more than I can put out. When it comes to just his reviews on just pretty much nothing but horror films, Sinister Cinema Reviews. I love this man's content. He's a hairstylist in real life, and by night he's a horror film fan who uploads reviews for that. And he is so much fun. He's just a fun, cool guy that I love to death, and I wish I could get him swayed over in a lot of ways to different beliefs in movies and stuff that I have. But for the most part, our taste in film is identical. Like, he likes the remake of Friday the 13th just like how I do, from 2009. He likes Halloween 2 from Rob Zombie, which I do as well. There's a lot of things that we really hit on the same note. Very rarely do I disagree with him on things. I think that he mostly kind of really represents my opinion a lot, and it's hard to find that. I have a very kind of laid-back opinion on my taste in movies and stuff, and Sinister Cinema Reviews is fantastic. I really like his content. I really highly recommend it. He doesn't do edited videos, though, so if you like that more than unedited like I do, then he's not going to be your guy. But if you like unedited reviews, he's going to be your dude. I think he's hilarious. Really funny, down-to-earth guy. Pretty much always responds to comments and stuff, even now after he's gotten like 10,000 subscribers. Does a great job. I really like his content. Third favorite is probably JonTron, but he rarely ever uploads, so is it really worth mentioning? But I love JonTron a lot, especially his older videos, like for Banjo-Kazooie. That was great when he talked about the third one for Xbox 360, and that was just gut-wrenching. I'm going to drink some water while I think about my next ones. I have a lot of people I watch, personally. Goosebumps Ozzy Fan is probably number 4. I love his content. I love getting new videos from him. Oh man, he's doing thrifting videos again. That's like my favorite he ever did. Oh, I love thrifting videos from the right people. Let's see. Number 5 is probably going to be Cool Duder. Cool Duder. COOLDUDER. Big movie guy. He does weekly videos visiting like Best Buy and Walmart and Target and all these places, show you deals and show you comparison on prices of new movies that came out, new box sets for shows and stuff that came out. I really like him a lot. Seems like a very cool guy. I'm so proud of all the weight he lost. He kind of inspired me to want to go into my weight loss as well. I'm about 30 pounds down now, so I'm really stoked about that since the end of July. But Cool Duder is a really, really, really big influence to me when it comes to his kind of unedited style, but at the same time, his personality. The dude's an actor in really low-budget horror films and stuff. He just seems like a really down-to-earth fella. I like him a lot. I really would love to meet him in person somehow. He'd be a really cool guy to hang out with. Number 6. There was a YouTuber on YouTube that would probably be my top of all time, but I'm kind of pissed because he came through, and I've probably talked about him on the channel before. His channel at the time on YouTube was called Blows Himself Up Dude. He's changed his channel name to Eric Holdren. And he used to do comic book reviews and movie reviews and stuff. And when I was in high school, and he was uploading mainly around 2009, 2010, that was his big time that he was uploading all the time. I think before he graduated high school. And Eric was just the coolest YouTuber ever. Again, unedited videos, pretty much just did what I do on my Strange Michael channel. Kind of inspired that a little bit in some of my older channels I used to have, where he just puts a picture up on the screen, talks into a microphone. And I like that because I have a face for radio. I don't have a face for camera. I'm more comfortable being on microphone. I feel like the sound's better. I like kind of that podcasty thing, even though I hate podcasts. I just like videos being done like that. In Closet Goosebumps Fan does videos like that. Just a picture on the screen and his voice. And I like that, personally. I think that's a better type of thing and a little bit easier for me to make because of my voice, and I'm not as fun on camera. You know, I don't know how you guys sit here and listen to me for an hour and a half on camera. I don't get it. But Eric Holdren was fantastic. He's basically at some point unlisted all of his videos or deleted all of his videos. The rumor is that he unlisted them. So I'm hoping that at some point he'll give in and listen to the rest of us that love his content and list them back up where we can all watch them. I love his content. I think he's one of the funniest people on YouTube. Really cool, really genuine, very smart. That's the thing too. You don't see a whole lot of YouTubers who are smart. Eric was a smart guy, big time. He is kind of on Geekvolution, if you know them. He used to be on there a whole lot. He's not really on there anymore since Cap, the guy on Geekvolution that runs that channel, left. He actually moved to a new area, new house and all that. So Eric doesn't really go over that much anymore to make videos with him, which is kind of a shame because I love comic books, I love comic book movies, I love movies in general, so it's kind of a shame that I don't have more content from Blows Himself Up Dude. So I just want to let you know that would be my number one, but I haven't seen any of his videos in like a year now because they've all been gone for so long. But he was always my favorite dude. I've seen his videos like 700 times since 2009 and 2010. Whereas I've watched Goosebumps Ozzy like 4 times through and 5 times through. Blows Himself Up Dude I've probably watched God knows how many times for the last 10 years. I love his videos so much. Let's see, who would be number 7? Probably Steven Crowder. I love Steven Crowder. I know we're talking about politics here, and I'm not getting into that too deep, but I love Steven Crowder. Steven Crowder is absolutely hilarious. He's one of the funniest people ever, and I love the fact that he does not so much represent himself as a news thing, so much as a, hey, here's what's happening type thing in politics. Really like his channel a whole lot. Number 8 is what I'm at. Okay, so I got 3 more choices. Number 8 is probably the Hodge twins. They're also kind of a political thing. They also do vlogging about weightlifting and stuff. They're 2 twin brothers, and they are absolutely hysterical, man. I mean, they are 2 of the funniest people I've ever seen on YouTube. Now, they're a little raunchy, a lot of foul language. Kind of annoys me sometimes, but when it comes to their comedy, they are genuinely hysterical, dude. I love them to death. They are so funny. I was watching them last night, as a matter of fact, before I went to bed, because they're just so genius. I don't know. You have to see them to see what I'm talking about. They're just really funny guys. Their names are the Hodge twins, as in Hodge twins. Genius. Absolutely funny. Let's see, what are my other 2 choices I have left? I'm trying to think of what do I usually watch on a common day. Let me look on my YouTube. Well, I can't bring that up without leaving the video. I'm trying to think of who the other 2 I watch a whole lot. I've got a lot of people I watch, like spread-eagled kinda. I'll take some more water to drink while I think about it. I'm sorry I'm taking so long with this video, guys. I'm just trying to get everything down the right way. I have a lot of time before I have to start working and stuff today, so I'm trying to get everything down pat. I don't know who else. I don't know if I watch anybody else as much as I watch those 8 people. I don't know. Yeah, you know, we're going to move on, because I don't want to hold you guys up and make you have to sit around and keep thinking for me, or waiting for me, but that's pretty much the big ones that I watch. There are people that I just found that I've pretty much gotten sucked into, like Goosebumps Completionist. I keep bringing him up. I'm sorry, like I feel like I'm doing like a channel promotion, but I'm not. It's just good to see somebody who likes making their content kind of like how I do, because I don't feel alone, you know? So I really recommend him as one of the bigger channels I just found. Well, he's not a bigger channel, but he's growing, and I really recommend his stuff. I think he's a really cool, down-to-earth guy. But I'm really liking his content a whole lot so far. Very nice guy. I'm gonna move on, Bender. I'm sorry, folks, so much about rambling so much today. It's one of those days. I'm in talkative mood. Killlock's montages. Number 1, if there was a Goosebumps 3, what would you want it to be about? I want it to be like R.L. Stine. Now, spoilers for Haunted Halloween. If anybody doesn't know the film, I think more people would have been familiar with that film than they would the books. Like the books, the rare stuff, you know, that's hard to find. Of course, Jack Black / R.L. Stine got sucked into that book at the end of the second movie, Haunted Halloween. I would want it to be like now he's in Horrorland. That's my opinion. I know it would be pricey to film. If they were able to pull it off for the old TV show, I think they could pull it off for a big budget movie. That's my opinion. I'll stand by it. I would love that to be the case, and kind of do little references to the original One Day at Horrorland book, or do references to the Horrorland series, like the tie-in stuff. If you wanted to do that, that'd be my idea. Question number 2. If you could change an ending to a Goosebumps book, what book would that be? Slappy's Nightmare. I would take off that last chapter. I'd cut the whole last chapter out of the book. I would keep the cafeteria scene. Because I'm pissed about that ending to this day. It kind of ruins that book and how great and creepy and fun that book was. I hate that ending. I can't wait to watch Goosebumps Completionist's review on that. I think I haven't yet. I believe I have not yet. But even so, that would be the one I would change. Number 2, if you could change an end... Oh, I already read that. Number 3, what Goosebumps book had the most potential to be great but wasn't? Oh man, there's a couple of those. I think the first one that came to mind when I was screening through these questions, and I saw this one, was probably Goosebumps Most Wanted, The Haunter. The Haunter really kind of bummed me out. I was really stoked about it. It had some really creepy stuff involving a haunted house kind of story, and then it just got really cast to the side. It wasn't what I wanted it to be. It was kind of a letdown. You know, it kind of became more silly. If it wasn't so silly, I would have really enjoyed that a lot more. There was another one, too, I had as an example. I don't know. Son of Slappy had a lot of potential, and I stand by that a lot. It had a lot of potential, and it really kind of ruined that a little bit, just because of it was just bad. It was there's mediocre Slappy books. There's books that literally from the Slappy series that not just Slappy World but Slappy books that feel like the same thing over and over again. And that's fine. I don't mind formula. I mean, I love the Hallmark Christmas movies, for God's sake. I don't care about formula. As long as it's good, I don't mind that. It's more about execution and quality of that formula that I care about. And whether it's worthwhile, it seems like it actually has some effort put into it. Son of Slappy feels like the most slap in the face, pardon the pun, type of book I've ever read in my life. It just feels like nobody cared about that. You know, whether it be the viewers... or readers, in this case, or Stein, or whoever wrote that. It just feels like no one cared about it. The cover was cool. I thought it should be like the cover. The cover is a complete misrepresentation of that book, at least physically. but I'm still pissed, personally, about how that turned out. Anyway, thank you for your questions. E&E book reviews. What's the best Goosebumps Horrorland Most Wanted Hall of Horrors books? I've not read Hall of Horrors yet. I can't talk today. I can't even say the word horrors. It sounds like horror because I'm Southern. I can't help it. And I have speech impediments and stuff. Anyway, what's the best of each of those series? For Horrorland, I think Creep from the Deep is absolutely fantastic. I think it's probably better than Revenge of the Living Dummy. I think it's better than Scream of the Haunted Mask. Get it right? I think it's better than most of those books. I think it's a fantastic book. I did a really, really big review for that. For anybody who doesn't know what Creep from the Deep is, it's actually the third Deep Trouble book. It was great. It was genuinely great. When it comes to Most Wanted, I think if you count Goosebumps Wanted the Haunted Mask as a Most Wanted book, probably that one. If you don't, it's probably Frankenstein's Dog for me, even though the cover's a complete sham. I love Frankenstein's Dog. I thought it was a fantastic read. Zombie Halloween was really great, too. That was a really, really great one. There was another one in there, too, that I've read that I thought was pretty great. I don't remember what it was, though. Again, I have not read Hall of Horrors, so I can't answer that. E&E also had another question, too, for and another comment. What's the worst Goosebumps book ever? To me, probably Monster Blood. I really don't like the first Monster Blood. I think it's really genuinely written bad, or poorly. It's probably the best way to critique that. If I'm going to critique it, I should probably critique it with a good, or a well-spoken insult. I don't like the first Monster Blood. I think there's other books that concept-wise are worse. Maybe I have them lower on my list of books in order from worst to best on my list on my phone. Maybe I have that listed, and maybe Monster Blood is not the worst. But off the top of my head, I think Monster Blood's pretty bad. I genuinely believe that. Now, to be fair, it's not completely horrible. It's just bad in execution. It doesn't feel like R.L. Stine. After Welcome to Dead House and, what was the second book he wrote? Monster Blood was book number 3. What was the second one? Welcome to Dead House and something else. But even so, that's what my whole point is. It doesn't feel like the other books. So, it feels off to me. I don't like it. I think it's bad. Pretty bad, in my opinion. It might change by that point, whenever I make that future video, God willing, of all the books ever ranked and whatnot. it's very possible that Monster Blood has not been the absolute worst to me. I also think that the particular Goosebumps Horrorland book that had Bim in it, what was that book called? Please Don't Feed the Weirdo? Or something like that? No? Is it Slappy World? Whatever the one is with Bim the orange alien that everybody loves. I hate that book. I genuinely don't like that book at all. It had some moments to it that were kind of like E.T. a little bit, and it wasn't completely a loss or a giant L, but it was not great. It was not good, in my opinion. But yeah, there's that for you. Genius A-Hole 69. Hey, will you review Piano Lessons Can Be Murder? It's a good book. I've heard everybody recommend that to me. I plan on getting to that in 2021 at some point, maybe early in the year. I would kind of like to start out next year and just finish all the classic books. I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm trying to finish Slappy World now, or at least what's out now. And then every time the new book comes out, I can read that and talk about it. I would kind of like to next year just jump into the classic series and finish that, but I also have some of the Horrorland books and Give Yourself Goosebumps books I really want to read. So, it's going to be a little bit... I'm sorry, I'm just trying to save potentially really good ones, like Piano Lessons Can Be Murder, that everybody keeps telling me about, until later on, so please bear with me. I'm trying, guys. But I've had so many recommendations to read it. I might read that sometime early 2021, I don't know. It's only a couple of months away, so it's not really that long of a wait. But, yeah, just bear with me. I'm trying my best here. What is the other comment that he had for us? Also, what is the worst spin-off series of Goosebumps? If you mean spin-off in the sense of, like, Cash Grab, or, like, Most Wanted, or Horrorland, I would say Horrorland. But there's also the TV books. The TV books are kind of pointless. They were to make money. They're basically just novelizations of episodes of the show, which are different from the actual books. And some of those TV books can be fun. They feel like Stein wrote them, even though he didn't write any of those. But overall, I think they're worthless. I think some of the books have jumped so much in price, like Attack of the Jack-O-Lanterns and Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes. I mean, they're extremely expensive now, and it's pretty crazy. So that kind of pisses me off that those are so highly regarded right now. It's not really necessary to read by any means. I don't know. That's how I feel. I think the TV books and Horrorland both are kind of just lame. You know, Horrorland had some good books in it so far. From what I've read about close to half of that series, maybe a little over half even, but I'm not super impressed. Gotta be honest with you. That's my opinion, guys. Ivano B. I told my friend about your channel. Thank you so much. And now, questions. Number 1, do you think there will be Goosebumps 3 besides the new live action series in the works? No. It ain't happening. It's not coming out. That's like if the MCU just all of a sudden, or the DCEU even for that matter, just all of a sudden stopped in its tracks. And we're like, okay, you know what? We might do more movies, but we're going to do nothing but TV shows for a little while. Can you imagine how people would react? Everybody would say the same thing I've been saying about Goosebumps 3 for a long time. Goosebumps 3 ain't happening. I don't care if Jack Black says it's happening. I don't care who says what. It ain't happening, dude. There ain't no funding there. A lot of people have hated Halloween 2, or not Halloween 2, Haunted Halloween, or Goosebumps Haunted Halloween 2, whatever it is. Goosebumps 2 Haunted Halloween, whatever the title is supposed to be for that stupid movie. Not that it's bad. I like the movie. It's just I see why people don't like it. I get it. But there is more negative criticism of that movie than there is positive. You can deal with some negative criticism on something like Captain Marvel or Batman vs. Superman. You can deal with it there. They can take that. But when it comes to Goosebumps, it's not super severely popular anymore. No. Goosebumps 3 ain't happening, dude. If it did, I'd be very surprised. I don't think anybody asked about that in that recent R.L. Stine interview on Halloween Day, that live stream he did. I don't think anybody asked about that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I watched most of that live stream. I'm pretty sure nobody asked. So, I don't know, but I don't think it would have happened. I think the TV show has a lot of potential. I just don't want Netflix touching it, because they're going to put SJW nonsense in it. But, no, that movie ain't happening, dude. I'm sorry. I hope that it does. I want it to. I want to make that clear. I want Goosebumps 3 to happen, because I'm a big Goosebumps guy. I want to know what happens after 2. I don't think there's any plan. I think it was an ending just to try to get us fans being like, oh, where's it going? You know? But I don't think it's going to happen. I genuinely have no faith in that. Number 2, in a fight to death, who would win, Slappy or Mr. Wood? Slappy. Because Slappy's a fan favorite. I don't think they could pull off like a Freddy versus Jason and have both of them sort of kind of win. I don't think it could happen. So, Slappy in my opinion. Number 3. I know you said you like DC. I like it too. So I wanted to ask, who's your favorite DC character? Mine is the Joker. I love the Joker. I genuinely love the Joker. I've become interested in Aquaman. I read the first volume of Jeff Johns' run from the New 52. I liked that a lot too. It was kind of like a horror comic almost. The movie for Aquaman had some kind of little things from that comic issue. It's pretty great. I really like Shazam. The more I read of Shazam, the more I like him a lot. I really love the movie. I think the movie's fantastic. I can't believe the movie didn't get more press and more love. I mean, it was fantastic. Batman is probably my favorite of the hero-anti-hero group. I'm not the biggest Superman guy just because I haven't read a lot of Superman yet. Haven't really delved into that yet. I've mostly been focused on this channel so much. I haven't really gotten into much of a comic book thing here lately. I actually recently read Batman Damned by Brian Azzarello, and that was pretty good. That was pretty good. I'm not entirely sure that I understood everything because I'm a Southerner, but I liked the book a lot. It was really good, really beautiful art, really. And it was a very controversial thing when it got released too. That's the one that they revealed a little bit much of Batman. And it wasn't in the newer book, because they went back and digitally re-edited the thing, but the first issue that ever came out, man, there was a big old controversy about that whole thing. Even so, Joker is the best villain DC has to offer. I stand by that as long as I live. There's some other DC stuff I like. I've never read any Hellblazer. Is Hellblazer Constantine? Whatever that is. Whatever his comic is. I haven't read that yet. But, favorite characters either Batman or the Joker for me. But there's some other ones I'm finding more interest in. Green Arrow, I liked the show, at least the earlier parts, like the first 4 or 5 seasons are mostly okay, mostly good. But then it got lost to SJWism pretty harshly, and I just kind of quit at that point. Same thing with Flash. Flash had a really good first and third season. The second season was an absolute mess, and then I just kind of quit after season 3. Because it was great, I was like, it's never going to be this good again. It never could be. So, I don't know. Joker and Batman probably for me. I just wanted to say that for buying books, I use Book Depository, and I totally recommend it. I know it's related to the question. Not related to the questions, but haha. I've never heard of Book Depository. I've only used, like, Thrift Books, Amazon, eBay, and something else. Better World Books, I believe, was the one I used. I don't know. Question number 4. Which Goosebumps book is the scariest? Either, for me, it's either Haunted Mask 2, Goosebumps 1 of the Haunted Mask, or Ghost Camp. Easily. Where did you buy the Slappy doll? That's it. I got that as a Christmas present many, many, many years ago, like 15 years ago, and I don't remember who bought it. I don't know if it's my mom, or my grandparents, or my dad. I'm pretty sure it's my grandparents. I could be wrong about that. Might have been my mom. But, I had the old one that people typically have where it doesn't have the movable neck. Mine has like the hard chest. It's like the step up from the regular plushie type one that you see. It has like a hard chest, a wooden chest, and it actually has the back open where you can put your hand in there and move the head around with the stick. It's not a deluxe with the eyes moving around or anything like that. But I love it. I think it's awesome. I love that dummy so much. I've had it so long. It's like a big... It's kind of like... Andy in Toy Story has Woody and Buzz. Slappy was my Woody and Buzz that I had, pretty much. I mean, I grew up with that thing. And I had the old one that just had the fluffed body, because I loved ventriloquist dummies when I was a kid. And I had the old one. That was the first one I ever had, was that one. I mean, I had a Danny O'Day, I had a Howdy Doody dummy, and then I had that Slappy dummy, because I was obsessed with Goosebumps. And I remember the day like it was yesterday when that thing came in the mail, and I saw the packaging, because my mom got this big smile on her face, told me to open it. But the one that was in my videos before I moved out of my old house is not the same type of dummy as that one with the plush body thing. It's actually a wooden body and all that. I believe I got that for Christmas one year, and it's been forever, like a long, long time ago, like over 10 years ago. So I can't tell you who got it for me or when, but love that dummy too. Really cool. Really cool. Its eyes glow in the dark. That was kind of creepy to get used to back in the day. I'm not going to get through all these comments, man. I don't think I'm even close. I don't know. Vania Lisbeth. I don't know how to say that name. Is it Vania or Vanya? That's pretty cool. How old are you? I am 26 now. 26 years old. I'm 28 years old, and I'm a super fan of Goosebumps. I love Goosebumps. And I'm 26 years old, and I'll stand by it. Gordon the Big Engine 1984. Hi. Hi. Number 1, what are some of your favorite animals? I love cats. I love cats and I love dogs. There was just another thing that I like. I don't remember what it is. There was another animal that I like a whole lot. As much as I love to eat deer, deer are very cute. I would not mind having a pet deer, but it'd probably jump away from me. So, that's not out of the question, pretty much. I'm not going to have a pet deer. But I do, we also have pet turtles. Well, not me and my wife, but my mom does, the one I used to live with. And those turtles were absolutely sweet. It's just they're so messy and so ruckusy. They love to make a lot of racket and beat on the freaking glass of the fish tank and stuff. They're crazy, but I love them. They're really cute. But yeah, I'm a big cat person. I like cats a whole lot. I love dogs. Dogs are very sweet, and I wish we could have a cat that acted like a dog. Dogs are very loving. Cats are not. That's kind of a shame. But cats are so cute. Cats are so cute. Okay, question number 2. What creature scares you the most? I'm curious, since you asked the animal thing, I don't know if you mean like animals, creature, or like bugs, or what. If you're not familiar with my channel, Gordon, I'm scared of everything, man. I'm scared of fish. I'm scared of bugs. I'm scared of spiders, which are also bugs. I'm scared of everything, man. The other night, my wife and I were laying in bed, and we heard this horrific noise. It sounded like a couple of dogs howling. I'm assuming it's coyotes. And then they killed something near our apartment, and it was horrific. The whole neighborhood, or complex, whatever. All the complexes were talking about this. I ran into our older neighbors upstairs. They were asking me about it, what that noise was. I don't know what those 3 or 4 coyotes killed, but they butchered something. It screamed so loud. It was absolutely nightmare fuel. My poor wife was scared to death. I mean, we both just kind of looked at each other. It was horrific. So whatever that was, that scared me. Number 3. If you could bring back one of the canceled Goosebumps books, which would it be? Series 2000, The Incredible Shrinking Fifth Grader, Give Yourself Goosebumps Untitled, cover had an Arctic setting with penguins, or Goosebumps Gold, Happy Holidays from Dead House. Well, Stein recently claims that Goosebumps Gold had never been written, that there were just ideas and some posters, covers, whatever, done, but there were no books officially written, supposedly. And I would love to see Happy Holidays from Dead House. I'd love to see all those books because I love Goosebumps, Give Yourself Goosebumps, whatever. I love Series 2000 because of the darker kind of feel to it, that grungy feel that some of Series 2000 typically has. I'd love to see all those, but I think particularly it'd be Happy Holidays from Dead House just because I love Christmas. I love Dead House. I'd love to see some more Christmas Goosebumps stuff, but we're never going to see it. So, there's that. Zerd Plays, Q&A. If there ever was a third Goosebumps movie, what would you like to see and or include, and would you put Horrorland in the film? Yep, absolutely, already said that. Ryan Waku, my boy. Finally, I can ask questions. Number 1, would you ever review the Ghosts of Fear Street series? I know they are ghost-ridden, but I don't find anyone ever talk about them. I've talked about 2 of them. I think it was the first book, Hide and Shriek, or whatever the title was. I think the second one I reviewed was Halloween Bugs Me, and Halloween Bugs Me was fantastic. It was so good. Really great book. Question number 2. Favorite season and why? Being Canadian, I like winter over summer. I love winter. Not only because of Christmas, because I like cold. I like cold, and I like being able to be freezing cold and sleep cold and have the fan on and all that stuff. I'm one of those types of fat people who have to have fans on them all the time. So I like having a cold house with the heat on. There's 2 types of people in the world. There's people who like cold houses with the heat on, or people who like hot houses with no air conditioning on. It's just the way it is. My wife's family, her mother and them, are the kind of people who do not run the heat at all. They'll be in a freezing cold house, and to save money, they will just bundle up and put tons and tons of clothes on. I don't like that. I don't like being smothered. I don't like being uncomfortable. I don't like being tangled either. But I love them, so don't get that wrong. Don't get that wrong. But I just like to pick with people about that. But I like winter a lot, because I love snow, and we never get snow here either. I'm hoping this year we'll get some. Number 3, are you a Futurama fan? Ryan, you know we love Futurama here. We've talked about Futurama between me and you before. It's great. Bender's my favorite character. I love Futurama. So good. Number 4, would you review any of the Star Wars Galaxy of Fear books? It's basically Goosebumps set in the Star Wars extended universe with an overarching plot. God bless you and your wife, Michael. God bless you, Ryan. I picked up that one recently from that big thrift event thing I talked about in one of my videos. I'd never heard of it before, and I don't actually mind the young adult Star Wars stuff, sometimes it can be pretty good from the old Legends canon. Like again, Jedi Apprentice, there's Jedi Apprentice, there's Jedi Quest about Anakin Skywalker. Those series are really solid from what I've read so far. I haven't read tons, but I've read quite a bit so far. And it's pretty great. I'm loving it, especially Jedi Apprentice with Obi-Wan Kenobi growing up. You know, I like that a lot. Really, really good. I recommend that highly if you're a Star Wars fan. But, the Galaxy of Fear books, I don't know if I'll review that, even though it's kind of like a horror Goosebumps type thing in the Star Wars universe. I don't know if I'll review that just because it's that. Because it's more Star Wars-y, rather than a random kid dealing with something scary. You know, maybe it is. I don't know. But I probably won't talk about that here on this channel. I might talk about it on the other channel, Strange Michael, if I ever get around to reading those things, but right now I can't promise you anything. I'm sorry, that's just, I can't. But I love my Star Wars. I really do. Probably going to talk about Star Wars at some point in the future. You know, we're getting into December. On the Strange Michael channel, on YouTube and on BitChute, I'll probably be talking about Christmas movies here soon, because I love Christmas as much as it's more of a horror-focused channel. I'll be talking about some Christmas movies, because I love that. Christmas is great. I love Christmas movies. I'll talk about anything with Christmas. But Galaxy of Fear probably won't get reviews from me on this channel, sadly. But thank you for your questions, my dude. I appreciate you. All the time. Anyway, moving along. Cringe AMV. What's the best Goosebumps book in each series, and what's your favorite series in order, and why? Thanks, and goodbye, maybe. You must have had possibly more questions to ask. What's the best Goosebumps book in each series? Man, for classic series, it's probably Ghost Camp. Give Yourself Goosebumps, it's probably Little Comic Book Shop of Horrors or One Night in Pain House. I love both of those tremendously. Series 2000, probably going to stick with... Man, I just realized I haven't read a whole lot of Series 2000. I would probably go with Slappy's Nightmare, from what I've read, at least from what I remember off the top of my head, just because I really love that book. TV books, I would probably stick with Attack of the Jack-O-Lanterns so far. Probably. What's the next series? I think is it Horrorland? I haven't read Hall of Horrors, so I can't talk on that even though it came after Horrorland. Horrorland is probably going to be Creep from the Deep or Revenge of the Living Dummy for me. Most Wanted, if you include Goosebumps Most Wanted, Goosebumps Wanted the Haunted Mask, it's easily going to be that. If you don't include that, it's either going to be Zombie Halloween or it's going to be Frankenstein's Dog. Mainly Frankenstein's Dog, because I think from beginning to end that's a fantastic book. I'm just pissed over the cover. And then when it comes to Slappy World, I think It's Alive is the best. I love it. It scares me to death. I'm terrified of AI and robots and animatronics and stuff. That book really personally gets to me. So, there's that. Is there any more series I'm forgetting? I don't think there is. Again, I haven't read Hall of Horrors, so I can't really hit on that. But I think that's it, I believe. The Goosebumps graphics stuff is pretty good. I think all of those have their hits and misses. They're all pretty even for me so far. I haven't read all three, or four, whatever. But you know what I mean. Yeah. What's your favorite series in order? I don't have a list right now I can do that, so I'll probably just say my least favorite is probably Horrorland, if I had to bet on it. Even the TV books I think I like more than Horrorland, for the most part. I would say my favorite series right now is probably the classic series. But it's kind of tied with Give Yourself Goosebumps. I really love Give Yourself Goosebumps, and I like how newer Goosebumps can be gory and kind of more scary, because they realize kids can handle more than they realize. But the classic series is probably my favorite right now, just because I love the different types of monsters all over the place. It's kind of a shame that we don't have more of that now. We don't really have more exposure to different types of monsters. We're kind of just stuck in this Goosebumps era now, kind of like with the MCU and DCEU and all those DC Marvel type things, where we're just doing the same thing over and over again. We're just repeating old stories with new ideas, you know? And that's fine, I'll take it, but I would like new monsters. New good monsters, you know? Or concepts, for that matter. Let's see. Cringe AMV also asked another comment. What's the worst Goosebumps book in each series? Oh man, that's a hard one too. Classic series is probably going to be Monster Blood for me. Give Yourself Goosebumps is probably going to be... there was a recent one I read that was not very good. What was it? I don't remember Give Yourself Goosebumps book. I've enjoyed most of those. I can't remember the one that I didn't like. When it comes to Series 2000, I haven't read many of those. I don't remember what I have read and what I haven't read, because I really like it, but I wanted to keep saving Series 2000 more and more, but I want to read more by the end of the year, because I've really liked it. If I had to say the Series 2000 had a weaker one out of the ones I've read, it's probably that Return to Horrorland book, but it wasn't bad. It was a decent book. I actually didn't mind it, but it wasn't great, you know? Oh yeah. But Horrorland. Horrorland has had some really bad entries. Again, the one with Bim, I think is probably the worst, in my opinion. When it comes to Goosebumps Most Wanted, I would say the worst there is probably... maybe The Haunter. The Haunter's pretty weak. It's pretty weak sauce, man. I was really let down by that book. I wanted it to be so great, because that cover is just phenomenal. It really is. And the rest of that book is just really a big letdown after the haunted house scene. But yeah, I'm sorry if I'm forgetting any. Oh, Slappy World. Let's talk about Slappy World, too. Slappy World probably has... probably Attack of the Jack. Either that or Revenge of the Invisible Boy are probably the worst out of everything I've read in there, if I had to bet on it. For me, my taste, in my opinion. Oh well. Moving along. Zumi, Pineapple Cat. What series do you think will come after Slappy World? I'm convinced Slappy World is going to be the last one. I'm convinced. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm convinced it will be. What's the best Goosebumps book from every series? I just did that. What's the worst? Just did that. What Goosebumps book do you want a sequel on? Oh man, I talked about all kinds of stuff recently. I would love, absolutely love, a sequel to, oh, it's gone. Egg Monsters from Mars. I would love a sequel to that. I don't know if you could really pull one off that wouldn't feel just generic and bland and a cash grab, but I would love a sequel to that. I really like it. I would like a sequel to maybe, I don't know, maybe Night in Terror Tower or something? I don't know. Something like that. I like a lot of books, man. There's a lot of really good ones that could really do a good sequel. If we did a real sequel to Ghost Camp, and not that garbage Return to Ghost Camp or whatever that stupid book was. Oh, that was the worst of Series 2000. Excuse me, guys. That was the worst of Series 2000. Was freaking that one. And my brain deleted it. It was so bad because I hated that book so much. That was the worst of Series 2000. Was Return to Ghost Camp or whatever it was called. That was horrible. Well, it wasn't completely horrible. It was just really, really bad and should not have been called Ghost Camp. If it wasn't called Ghost Camp, it would have been a mediocre book. I was pissed because they lured me in and baited me and switched me. But, yeah, that one is the bad sequel that doesn't deserve to exist. I think we need a real Ghost Camp sequel. I don't know what you'd do with it, but I'd love to see a real one. Thank you for reminding me about that, Zumi. Okay, RC. RC comments on a lot of stuff. Thank you, dude. If you had a choice, which Goosebumps book or item would you keep if there was a fire? If I had to keep any of them at all, it would probably be my one copy from my skating rink birthday party of Night of the Living Dummy. It was the party I talk about constantly in my videos and always in my Q&As, where I got a big box of Goosebumps books. They were my first time ever getting Goosebumps books, really, after I had gotten to the show from the VHS tapes from Hollywood Video. The one thing I would keep, probably, is the copy of Night of the Living Dummy, because I've had it all of my life. I've pretty much had it since I was like 5 or 6 or 7, somewhere in that ballpark. But it means so much to me to be in my life for 20 years and be the thing that I always loved that picture of Slappy. It is so scary and so terrifying, and I love it to death. That would probably be it for me. The Green Mertens. Very funny video. Thank you. Questions. Number 1. What is your favorite Goosebumps Series 2000 book or books? Favorite Series 2000 book, again, probably Slappy's Nightmare. It's great. It's so creepy and so scary, and then the ending sucks. Number 2, what original series Goosebumps books are you missing? I have all of them right now. I have everything Goosebumps ever published, book-wise. I haven't reviewed all of them. So that's only the real thing there with that. Question number 3, what is the rarest Goosebumps book you currently own? If you consider the Attack of the Jack-O-Lanterns book or Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes TV books, if you consider either of those rare, which they are, they're really rare, but I mean, like, if you consider those the really hard to find ones, I would consider those two probably, because they go for a lot. And, you know, even Goodwill tries to scam people on, like, Amazon and stuff with that. They tried to charge, like, $1,000 for It Came From New Jersey, which is the book about Tim Jacobus. It's a book that he did not write, but they claim he did. He admitted it's ghost-written on Facebook. He even told me about that. when I talked to him one time about finally getting into the mail. It came from New Jersey. It's like impossible to get. You have a chance to get Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns number 16 TV book. You have a chance to get Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes. They're hard to find, but you can get them. But that one, it came from New Jersey, is pretty difficult to find. It took me a while to get that one, and it was pretty close to the end of my collecting years, or days, when I bought that one. But yeah, I got that. Anyway, number 3, what is the rarest Goosebumps book? Oh, I already answered that. Number 4, do you have any books signed by R.L. Stine? No, I do not. No, I do not. That's kind of sad. I kind of wanted to get one, but I know right now he has, like, no team, so he can't do it. That's a shame. I hope I can get one before he dies. God willing, that's a long time off, because I love the man. But I would love to have just one book signed by him in my collection. If I had to pick one, probably Goosebumps 1 of the Haunted Mask. I think that book means so much to me, and I've talked about that in the past, about, like, my grandmother passed away. She's probably the big person who picked that out for me years ago. That book means a lot to me, and I really love it. It got me back into Goosebumps. So, yeah. I'm hoping I could have a copy of that signed. You know, have one of my other tons and tons of copies of it together in there with his signature in it. But even so. Number 5, what is your favorite Goosebumps episode? Not a Living Dummy 3. No question about it. I love it. I think it's fantastic. Thank you so much. Oh boy. Lou coming in here with 20 questions, man. Number 1, do you like roller coasters? I certainly don't. I love roller coasters, but I'm scared to death of them. Just like I'm scared of everything. Number 2, will you ever read Stine's Garbage Pail Kids books? I want to. I saw one in FYE the other week, and I looked at it, and I was like, wow, it looks like he's actually having fun with this, because it was like 200 pages, and I was like, why are we not getting like 200-page Goosebumps books? We only get 3 a year. You know, spread out like 3 to 4 months a piece. Why are we only getting 3 of those a year? We got a freaking Garbage Pail Kids book that's 200 pages. If that doesn't scream I'm done, I don't know what does. You know? But, yeah. I want to. I just haven't bought it yet. So, number 3, are you claustrophobic? I'm fat, so yes. Because the fear of getting stuck is more of a fear than I'm in a tight space. Number 4, do you prefer sleeping with the lights on or off? I don't really care. I'm also a chicken, so I'd prefer them on, probably. But I also don't care. I could sleep like a what's the expression? Sleep like a rock. I can sleep like a rock and not be affected by not having the lights on or off. You know, because by the time I wake up in the morning, God has already turned the lights on outside. So, there you go. Let's see. Number 5, enlighten us with a traumatizing memory if available. Oh, man. We got so many of these. So, there's one that kind of happened to me that I didn't realize was as dangerous as it was until I got older in the last year or so that I realized what actually almost happened there. I'm not laughing about this because it's something that could have been terrible, like really genuinely terrible. Because I live in Virginia and Virginia's nuts. People always talk about the Florida man jokes. Virginia might as well have the Virginia man jokes. So when I was a kid and my parents were still together before 2004, probably 2002 or 2003, somewhere in that ballpark, I've come to realize that the neighborhood we used to live in, that our house was nice, but the other houses were just kind of, they were okay. They were older houses than our house. That's why I'm not saying that they were bad. They were just kind of older. They weren't newer. We were living in a really nice house, and I came to realize over the years, especially the last year or so when my wife have started looking for houses with me, that neighborhood sucks. It's always sucked. And I've realized that a lot of the online lists about predators are in that neighborhood. Okay? So, I had this one neighbor. I was outside on like a Saturday morning playing with my dog out in the yard. And there was a pretty big wall there and a lot of trees and stuff over in that, and dividing me and this guy's house. And I actually talked to this guy. I heard him outside and I said hello and stuff, and, you know, he was very friendly. He started telling me, like, you know, hey, if you ever want to come over, man, you just come on over and hang out with us. We're real cool. We're real nice. We promise. And then I started thinking, recently, in the last year or so, I don't think that man ever had a family living there. I'm almost certain he didn't. So there's two different ways this could have went that I'll keep unmentionable, because I don't want to accuse a guy of anything, but I'm just saying, you don't say that to a kid when you're an adult. But number 2, it scared me to death when I think about it now, because some really horrific things could have happened. I could have been killed and other stuff. And again, God protected me there. But it's something that did not traumatize me at the time, but one of the things that got to me all these years later is that when I told my mom about how nice that neighbor was and that he had invited us over at any time and stuff, it did not occur to me that he invited me over all the time, or at that time. I never heard from him after that day, but when I told my mom about it, I remember her face just going pale, and she'd being like, just don't talk to that guy ever again. Don't go out there by yourself ever again. Don't do it. And as an adult now, I know why. Because I was a stupid kid. Do not, I express do not, folks, kids especially, you're watching this channel, do not go and talk to strangers by yourself. Do not do that. I expressly tell you, do not do that. God was very, very helpful in my situation, did not let me get attacked or hurt or anything like that, or killed. It's possible. Thank God. That doesn't always go that way. And it could have been bad. So it's not something that traumatized me at the time, but the memory and thinking about it as an adult now is what made me realize that was stupid, you could have died. or worse, you know? And it was bad. And I'm thankful that I was okay, because people are evil. You know, people are evil. That's just the way it is. People are demonically influenced, and people are evil. So, don't be naive, okay? That's my whole story. Number 6, chicken, piano lessons can be murder. I'm just asking this because it's become obligatory at this point. Later and later. That's what I'll tell you. Later and later. Number 7, Windows or Mac, Apple or Android. Windows for me. I love Mac's style computers, then I saw what they're doing now. Well, is it Mac? No. No, I'm thinking about Apple on this. Yeah. I like Windows more than Mac. But even so. Apple or Android, I stick with Apple. I don't like Android because it's too complicated to use. I like my dumbed down Apple iPhone thing that I can click on an app and delete it by hitting an X, rather than have to go into the freaking CPU, or whatever, and delete like 15 files to try to get rid of one picture. I think it's ridiculous. I think Android is so extremely ridiculously difficult to use. I think it's not user-friendly at all. I know it makes me sound like a dumb old man, but the new user availability is not very good, in my opinion. I used to have Android. I've had a couple of Android phones, actually, and I just don't like them. I like Apple more. I actually have an iPhone, so that's pretty cool. But number 8, if you could meet anyone from the past, who would you meet and why? I want to say Jesus, but I already know him. I'm going to meet him again up in heaven. So, probably Edgar Allan Poe. I did reports on Edgar Allan Poe. I would have loved to have known what he was like in real life. I know a lot of people say he was kind of snarky, kind of to himself, kind of a critic, because he was a reviewer and stuff, oddly enough. Yeah, if you didn't know that, Edgar Allan Poe did reviews for stuff too, like stories and books. That was pretty neat. He did articles, all kinds of stuff. I would kind of like to meet him. He seems like an interesting guy, you know? Let's see. Number 9. If you could have 3 wishes granted, what would they be? And ixnay on the wishing for more wishes or genies. So, 3 wishes granted. I don't even know where to start, man. Can I have an R.L. Stine book that's signed? You know? Can R.L. Stine live forever and write more books? That'd be great. Number 3. Can I please become a writer for a living? Like a novelist or a poet or something. Can poetry please come back to living and being well? And people actually reading it, because it's good when it's good. Because a lot of the modern poetry is not good. Anyway, moving along. Number 10. You got any talents? No, absolutely not. Number 11. Did you have any irrational fears as a child? I was afraid of virtually everything. I was afraid of everything too. I was afraid of absolutely everything. One of the things I specifically remember traumatizing me as well, to go along with another question you asked earlier, we had a pet frog at one point. We called him Kermit. I don't know why. And we had a box of grasshoppers we had to get, and I thought they would just be dead. No. No. They give you live ones, because the frogs like them living too. So we got a box of living grasshoppers, and of course, I didn't know that. So they jumped out and started running all over the kitchen, hopping all over the kitchen. And so I had to deal with that. That was traumatizing. I hate bugs. Are you good with riddles and brain teasers? I love brain teasers. I'm not good with riddles. Riddles are difficult because they're tricky, you know? I like puzzles. I like that kind of stuff, like puzzle boxes, that kind of thing. I like that kind of stuff. But riddles, no. Not good with that. Number 13, do you think Ant-Man is underrated? I personally think it's the best Marvel film so far. Jesus, Lou. Good God, why? I don't mind Ant-Man. The second one, Ant-Man and the Wasp, I hate. I think it's awful. I genuinely think... Now, mind you, I have low standards across the board. I think Ant-Man and the Wasp is one of the worst films ever made in the MCU. Not that it's one of the worst films I've ever seen. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's one of the most generic, bland movies I've ever seen in my life. One of the most inconsequential films I've ever seen in my life. It's amazing to me how much people hate Civil War. I love Civil War. I think it's a fantastic film. To me, it's the Empire Strikes Back of those series. And everybody always says Infinity War or Infinity Gauntlet or what? No, Infinity War. Is that the first one? Whatever the first of the Thanos movies is. I can't even remember the title right now. It's so early in the day, I can't help it. Everybody says that first Thanos movie is the Empire Strikes Back of the MCU. I completely disagree. Civil War and the stuff we found out about freaking Iron Man and like the Winter Soldier, the stuff that happened with that and Iron Man's parents, it is so horrific. And then the ending is even more insane. I can't believe that. But anyway. I'm not a fan of Ant-Man at all. I love Paul Rudd playing Ant-Man. I really like him a lot. Very good actor. Very, very good. It's everything else about those series that irritate me. They are the most formulaic Marvel films. Those and Doctor Strange. I like Benedict Cumberbatch a lot. Both of those films are some of the most generic Marvel films I've ever seen in my life, personally. That's just me. That's just me. But again, I don't have a problem with the first Ant-Man. It's Ant-Man and the Wasp that I can't stand. I think that is the most horrifically offensive, just bland movie. You know? I think I hear my wife bumping around out there. I don't know. She was in bed when I started recording this. It's been a long time. Let's see. How was the COVID test? It was horrible. It was horrible. I think they scraped my brain a little bit. I smelled blood for like a couple of days. Any opinions on the Emoji Movie? I haven't seen that, so I actually don't have any opinions on that, but I don't want to see it. It looks pretty bad. Number 16, have you ever considered contributing to the Goosebumps Wiki? I've thought about it. It's just that it's so well maintained by you and a lot of other people, Lou, that it's really not pointful for me to, you know? Does that make sense? Because they've done a great job out there. I really do, guys. I recommend the Goosebumps Wiki tremendously. They've done a great job over there. They really have. Maintaining everything, from the newer books to the newer announcements, all that stuff. And then number 17 is Chicken Chicken or Piano Lessons Can Be Murder with emojis. It's very cute, Lou. Very, very cute. If I had to pick one that I'm more excited for, it's going to be Piano Lessons. Easily. Because it sounds kind of cool. I keep seeing images of floating hands everywhere that everybody keeps talking about. And the obsession with hands. That sounds like a Nicholas Winding Refn, Only God Forgives type thing. I know I'm making it artsy-fartsy, but it sounds cool. It sounds cool. I have no interest in Chicken Chicken. At all. I'm going to read it at some point, God willing. But I have no interest. I got to be honest with you. Number 18. What's scarier, Goosebumps or Shark Tale? Oh, God. Shark Tale. I haven't heard that name in a long time. Goosebumps for me, but Shark Tale is horrific. That's like Food Fight, you know? That's like that kind of ugly. Anyway, let's see. Number 19. Will you use the YouTube community tab feature? You unlock it at 1,000 subscribers. Yeah, I probably will. I thought, because one of my old channels hit 1,000 a long time ago, like a couple of years ago. Or a few years ago, actually. Before I started this channel, there was one channel I had that hit 1,000. It's not really worth looking at. It's not Strange Michael, where I do movie reviews and stuff. It was an older channel I used to do reviews on and stuff. And on that particular channel, I've always had the opportunity to post community reviews, and I just thought that maybe this is a newer channel, so that's why I couldn't do that. That's not the case. Apparently, it's when you hit 1,000 subscribers, you can start posting like community stuff. I thought that was kind of cool, so I'm going to probably use that. Sometimes I might be in a store and see something that makes me think of you guys, and I'll probably post it on there. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. I know a lot of people on the smaller channels like mine don't really associate so much with the community tabs. or really interact with it. So it kind of depends. I don't know. I might do some stuff here and there, but you'll see, I guess. I don't know. Number 20, congrats. Looking forward to the 1 million subscriber Q&A. I wish, man. There ain't going to be no 1 million. You're crazy. YouTube probably won't even survive long enough for me to get 1 million. Probably never going to happen. But even so, thank you so much, Lou. You're a big part of why this channel's fun and why I have a fun time doing this. Thank you for everything you put on the Goosebumps Wiki and doing so much content and work there. Thank you for everything you do, dude. You're really fun. Enjoy you a lot. God bless you. Abram. Abram also makes videos. I think his channel is just Abram. It's like a Slappy picture. He's very cool. Very nice kid. I like his videos a lot when he makes them. What do you think would win, or who do you think would win in a fight out of Slappy's brothers, Mr. Wood or Snappy? Probably Mr. Wood. Mr. Wood, probably. Snappy is a little odd. I'm not really sure how my feelings are about Snappy so far. But Mr. Wood, in my opinion. Yusuke Knight. My boy Yusuke, he watches everything, man. He comments on like every video I put up. He comments on all my Strange Michael movie review stuff. Yusuke, I know I don't talk about you enough, man, but seriously, I really appreciate you, man. I don't reply to everything you put up, but thank you for everything you do. I thank you for all the content, all the support and love. I really appreciate it. And again, God bless you. But let's get to his question. What's your favorite Goosebumps book you've ever read? Again, probably Ghost Camp or Goosebumps Most Wanted Haunted, or Goosebumps Wanted Haunted Mask. I kind of am slowly moving Haunted Mask 2 up there with those two. After I reread it this October, I'm telling you, man, that's a great book. That's a really great book. But yeah, that's probably what my pick would be out of those three, mainly. Kind of tied amongst those three. More and more I talk about it. Devil Luke. Hey, Devil, how you doing? Do you have plans on traveling to another country to visit? What streaming service do you have? I don't plan on going to another country, just because mainly I'm scared to death about having to not... If I needed to know a language, I'll never be able to learn it. You know, I know we have phones now, we can use like translational apps and stuff, but I would still be scared of not having my phone, being stuck in a place where I can't speak to anybody who speaks English, even though English is kind of universal as a language now, sort of, kind of. A lot of people in other countries are learning English more than we're learning Spanish here, so that's kind of nice, that's kind of helpful, but I would still be scared. If I got a chance to visit everywhere, or anywhere that spoke English, it'd probably be Ireland. You know, I'm Irish, so I would love to see Ireland. That could be awesome. I would be awesome, man, but it'd be cold. I'd love cold. It's great. What streaming service do you have? My wife recently picked out a thing called Friendly, where we can get the Hallmark stations, sort of kind of like all three of their channels. That's pretty nice. We also have Hulu. We watch a lot of King of the Hill. A lot of King of the Hill. We started watching again last night. We saw the what is that called? The Propaniacs episode. That's what we watched last night. That was really funny. And also the one about Dale's wife and him, and John Redcorn. That was really fun. If you haven't seen King of the Hill, you're missing out. It's one of the funniest comedy shows ever made, in my opinion. I love it to death. My wife even likes it. She doesn't even like the kind of stuff I like, but she likes that, and that's funny. I like that we have that in common. I'm not sure how to say your name. It's either Eliana or Eliana. And anyway, thank you for commenting. I'm sorry I can't say your name. I'm really bad with names, man. Please put it down below in the comments about how to say your name. I'd like to know, because I care about that kind of stuff. I do, really. It's not just a trying to reach out to you guys type of thing. It's literally I care about stuff like that. It bothers me when I don't know. Anyway, okay, I have a lot of questions, so brace yourself, good sir. Number 1, have you ever watched the Goosebumps movies? If so, what's your opinion on them? Yeah, I have. I really like the first one a lot. I think it gets a lot of unfair criticism. They had a lot they had to do for a film that should have come out like 20 years ago. Haunted Halloween ain't perfect. I did a review on that so far on my channel. I haven't reviewed the first one yet. I was going to in October and I got too busy. I just couldn't do it. I didn't have the time to get around to watching it. Had a lot of stuff happening at one point. But Haunted Halloween, I do have a review for them. I have a lot of my thoughts on that. It's still spoiler free, but there's a lot of my thoughts there. I think it's flawed, but I think it's still good because I have low standards. You know, I like it a lot. It has a lot more Slappy in it, and I like that a lot too. So that's nice. But yeah. Number 2, which movie's your favorite? Probably the first one out of those two, if I had to bet on it. Number 3, how would you have changed, added to the movies if you felt like you needed to? Haunted Halloween is extremely bogged down with a lot of... Let me get some water. I have a little bit left here. I'll use this one. Haunted Halloween is extremely bogged down with too much focus on, like, the older sister. And I get that it was a family story, and I get they needed to have a focus on all those things. Slappy being so much different from the first film, Slappy, is a little bit of an issue that I understand where people are coming from with that. I didn't completely care about that, but I see where people are coming from on that. I think that's a big issue that should have been resolved a little bit. But Haunted Halloween feels like a little bit more of a cheaper version of the first film. You know, I think the second film's biggest issue is it should not have gone the route, especially with marketing, the very little bit amount of marketing that there was done. They should have stayed away from marketing it as there's a book, there's Slappy, and there's a bunch of monsters coming to life. You know, because it's the same thing as the first film. A lot of people are pissed off about that. I still stand by stop motion anthology movie is the best way to go for Goosebumps. It's the best way you're going to pull it off. I genuinely believe that's the only way we're going to pull off a Goosebumps movie nowadays, if you're going to do that. But now there's the TV show, so what's the point? But stop motion would save Goosebumps in a lot of ways. I think kind of that Corpse Bride type style or Nightmare Before Christmas type style, I think that's what would save it, personally. Number 4, if possible, can you do your own Goosebumps or audiobooks on the channel for Goosebumps books? Sadly, no, because that's illegal. that's copyright infringement. Even for the books that are out of print, they still own the rights to that at Scholastic and Parachute Press. I think there's still trials going on about that. I could be wrong, but you can't do that. Any channel that you see doing that are technically illegally doing that. It's the same thing as pirating the whole book and putting it on YouTube and putting the whole book on like some kind of pirate website to pick that up. Personally, as a writer, as a creator, even though I don't really sell anything, as a person who writes, I would be livid. I'd be absolutely livid if my books ended up on a pirating website, because that's money you're taking away from that author. Now, if it's out of print and you're buying like a thrift book copy or whatever, that's fine. I understand that. Or if you have a situation where you have to buy it, secondhand, I understand that. Everybody understands that. Pirating it, there's no excuse. There's not, because to me, you're still ripping people off, personally. As a creator, it pissed me off. A lot of people don't understand that understanding, that angle of that you are stealing at that point. And I still stand by the fact that I don't support pirating. But this is a situation where I'm not going to do that. If R.O. Stein was like, yeah, go ahead and do it, and I got confirmation in writing from Scholastic in my own contract that I write, I would totally make an audiobook of Goosebumps books. I'd do it in a heartbeat. I really would. I love creepypasta short audiobook things. I love all that stuff. Mr. Creepypasta on YouTube is a great one to watch if you haven't seen anything like that. But I'm not going to do that right now because I'm not getting sued. And on top of that, when it comes to give yourself Goosebumps, you can't possibly pull that off. You can't do it. You genuinely can't pull that off with Give Yourself Goosebumps books. A lot of people try to do that and they'll play the book. And that's kind of different, I think, for doing the audiobook. But it's still almost an excuse to do that, you know? And I'm not trying to hate on the Goosebumps channels who are doing that. I'm not. I'm just saying what you're doing is illegal. You're not allowed to do that. You're copyright, or you're messing with the copyright. And again, at the same time, you have to think, if they're not making any profit off of this, what harm does it do? But at the same time, as a creator, it would piss me off if my content was out there for free. And I hadn't said that it could be out there for free. So I would not do that, personally, unless I got in writing from my own contract from Scholastic and Stein that I was able to do that. You're just waiting for a lawsuit, personally, I think. Not that the small channels that have like 10 subscribers are going to get some kind of lawsuit or something like that, but I would not do that. I wouldn't risk it at all. Even if I was a smaller channel than I am now, I would not risk that. Because Scholastic be crazy, man. But anyway, thank you for your questions, my friend. Salbots, how did you get your Goosebumps as a kid? And many kids usually have many collections such as books, toys, cards. Were you ever at a point where you didn't think you would buy another Goosebumps book? I mostly got my first probably 10 or so books from my grandparents and my mom, over the years. And as I grew up, I didn't collect Goosebumps anymore. I loved it still, I just didn't collect it anymore. In 2018, I had a back injury. I kind of talked about that earlier. Talked about it in previous videos as well, where I just was bored. I couldn't do anything but lay on my back all day long. I literally could not run around and move around and all that stuff. I had to just lay in bed. And it was bad. It was really bad. And at one point, I started getting into reading again. I wanted to pick up Goosebumps. I had those Goosebumps books from Most Wanted that I hadn't read yet. I started with Goosebumps Wanted the Haunted Mask. And I read that whole book in a couple of days because I had all this free time. I was off from work for about a year, I believe. Somewhere in that ballpark, about 10 months to a year. And I read the crap out of those books that I had. I bought more. and got slappy books and stuff. That's what I was going to start out with, and then eventually it evolved into buying everything Goosebumps-wise, because I loved it so much book-wise, not outside of books and DVDs. But I don't buy merch, really. I might buy some socks or a shirt, or get a shirt here and there, but that's about it. But yeah, that's mainly where I got my books from. And then I started buying all of my collection last year, and pretty much finished my collection last year as well, God thankfully. I didn't think it was going to happen last year, because I've heard a lot of people collect the books for 2 and 3 years and then finally finish the collection, but I was thankful. I'm glad I got all these. Now, I'm kind of in this place now where I'm kind of like, I don't need to buy any more Goosebumps books. I have too much stuff as it is. Books, movies, all that stuff from outside of this collection of just Goosebumps. I've always collected different things. I love Toy Story. I love Star Wars. I have a lot of crap that I collect. I love horror movies. Lots of stuff. So I've had a lot of different collections over the years. I still do. But outside of Goosebumps right now, I really don't collect much aside from pick up some movies here and there when it's something I actually want to see or I want to buy because I saw it on streaming or whatever and I really liked it and I wanted it in my collection. But when it comes to Goosebumps specifically, I don't really have any reason to buy anything else unless it's a hardcover that I want or a cover that I don't have like the original copy. I have the reissue copy. I'll buy stuff like that. Any new reissues that come out, I'll pick those up. But other than that, I don't really have any reason to pick out anything new aside from the newer books that come out. But that's pretty much it. I don't really have any reason to buy more Goosebumps books right now. Unless it's a book that I love and I want more copies of, then yeah, I'll buy a couple other copies just to have them to take like to the beach and stuff. But otherwise, no. Anyway, Garrett Larson. My question, I have a lot of questions on here, man. I'm sorry I'm taking so long to answer all these. This video's going to be freaking long, probably like 2.5 hours. It's already 12:10. Jeez. My question is, what do you think will happen to Goosebumps when R.L. Stine passes away? Do you think the books will keep getting made or no, and new movies and other things about Goosebumps? This is a sad question that I've answered a couple of times in my past. I think it's very fair to say that it's going to go the Marvel and DC route. It will. That's why I'm scared about Netflix getting their hands on the TV show, because Netflix will ruin it. SJWs will ruin the show, and they will ruin Goosebumps. They've already tried that with the Goosebumps comics. The comics are awful. The newer comics, not the ones from like Goosebumps graphics. The comics that are coming out now are horrific. I mean, just really bad. Witch House wasn't that bad. Or House of the Witch, whatever that newer one was from IDW. That wasn't tremendously awful, but it wasn't really great either. It was just passable, you know? But the first two, they already tried to ruin it with politics. Just left and right, and it was ridiculous, and I got sick of it. And I called it out in my reviews for both of those books. I think IDW ought to be ashamed of itself, because Goosebumps never had relationships in it to begin with. It didn't need that. It's about kids. Kids. Preteens. You don't need relationships in there. You don't need any of that stuff. You don't need SJW politics in there. You don't need any of that garbage. You don't need identity politics or any of that nonsense. Marvel Comics and DC Comics have both been ruined with that. I hate it. I genuinely despise it, and I think it's evil and gross. What really irritates me is the fact that it's going to happen with Goosebumps. You might as well just accept it. It's going to happen, because they're going to ruin everything. They've ruined everything now. They've ruined Star Wars, for God's sake. How do you ruin Star Wars? Disney did it. Disney's completely politicized Star Wars, and it's ruined it. I probably will never buy another Star Wars thing. I probably buy the DVDs and stuff, and that's about it. But it can happen. I genuinely think that when R.L. Stine dies, and God forbid this be for a long time, I hope that it stays away for a long time. I hope he lives a very long life, because I love him to death. He's extremely talented. One of the best writers I've ever read in my life. Probably my favorite writer of all time. But they're going to ruin his legacy. They're going to. You mark my words, it's going to happen. And I think the biggest thing that's sad about all this is that it's incoming. We know it's going to happen. We know it. They've already tried to with the comics. It's going to happen. It's just when. When is it going to happen? It's going to happen as soon as he dies. They did the same thing with SpongeBob. As soon as SpongeBob's creator died, they immediately started declaring all this stuff about SpongeBob that none of us ever picked up on, because it wasn't there, it never had been there, and it never will be there as far as I know. It's disgusting. It frankly pisses me off for the creators. Of anything, for that matter. Overall, that's what's going to happen. They're going to ruin it with SJW politics, more than likely, if that's still a trend at that time, because it's all it is a trend, but it's a popular trend, regardless. Just be ready. Prepare yourselves, because that's what's going to happen with this. So, I'm sorry, but that's the truth. I'm just being honest with you. I love you enough to tell you the truth. So, there you go. Did you ask me anything else in there? Because I think I rambled so much I forgot. I do think the books and movies will still be made and the TV shows, because that's the only thing that the SJWs know how to do, is to profit off somebody else's creation. They did the same thing with Stan Lee. Same exact thing with Stan Lee, and then when all those abuse accusations came out, they threw him under the bus. And now he's dead. And they dance on his corpse. And pee on his corpse as well. So, yeah, I think the movies and books and stuff will still get released from new writers and stuff that'll call themselves R.L. Stein or whatever. Or Dead Stein or something, I don't know. Something like that will happen, or R.I.P. Stein is probably what they'll go with, because they don't care anymore. They're so disrespectful to the creators of anything anymore, that's probably what's going to happen. But, R.I.P. Stein. Why did I come up with that? It's probably going to happen, too. It's probably going to be some vengeful SJW just to piss all of us off. Just going to put R.I.P. Stein as their author name. Yeah. Sorry for all the rambling, Garrett. I take it very personally what they're doing with everything that I love. When you're a 90s baby, you have a lot of reasons to be pissed off about what they're doing with everything you loved. Dude, I'm never going to finish these questions. Man, I've got so much here. Napoleon the Great. If you could be a Goosebumps monster, which one would it be, and why would you be that monster? Slappy. Because he's mischievous and he's funny. And I'm not funny, and I'm not mischievous. But it'd be funny and mischievous. Shadow Duke Gaming. What's your favorite sport? I love hockey. I love hockey. I don't have a team. I just love hockey. I love watching it. I love watching them fight. All that stuff. I love hockey. I'm not even Canadian, and I love hockey. Anyway, who's your favorite character from the Goosebumps movie, the 2017 one? There was no 2017 movie, was there? I thought Haunted Halloween came out in 2018. I don't know. The first one was 2015. If you're talking about the first one, man, I really like Champ, but I love Slappy. Jack Black's Slappy was so good, but R.L. Stein is Jack Black, or Jack Black is R.L. Stein, is hilarious. I really, really, really love him there. I think that scene when he's laughing in the grocery store and he falls in the grocery shopping cart thing, I've laughed every single time I've ever seen that scene. And just something about that gets to me every single time. It's just the way it's done. Stein is a comedic genius. Black is a comedic genius. He's so good. But it's either Champ, Slappy, or Stein in that movie, in the first one. In the second movie, is Slappy. No contest. No contest. He's great. He's so funny. The other actors and actresses are good, in my opinion, but he is the shining star of all that film. Favorite candy on Halloween? Kit Kat bars, man. You can't go wrong with a good old Kit Kat or a dark chocolate Hershey bar. That's good. Really good. I ate too much candy around this year. I didn't gain any weight where I've been dieting, but it was probably pretty close if I had to bet on it. Anyway, why did you decide to start this channel? Mainly because there wasn't much out there Goosebumps was. I was very encouraged by Zach Baby TV and Goosebumps Ozzy Fan. Not that they text me directly or anything, but I was very inspired and encouraged by what their content was. I knew I wasn't going to edit my videos. Goosebumps Ozzy Fan used to not edit his videos. Same thing with Zach Baby TV. They used to not edit their content. They used to just put an intro on it and that was it. But they put some background music of Goosebumps theme song playing or a remix of that or something. But that's really all they did. That kind of intrigued me enough to do what I used to do way back in the day on my old book reviews on another channel many, 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 many years ago in high school, when I would just upload reviews of me talking about books. I didn't edit or anything, and that's kind of what I do here as well. Just ramble and talk and try to make people laugh and so on, because I'm not funny. But I just wanted to talk about something I loved. It seems like there's still a community out there for Goosebumps. It's not as lively as the MCU fans or anything like that, but it's still there. It's something that's going to be timeless, I think, because of how good the books are and how much Stein is loved by just everyone. Anything you like. Even if you don't like Goosebumps, Fear Street has a big following, dude. Still to this day. So that's pretty impressive for somebody who could maintain that all these years later. But that's kind of why I wanted to just make a celebration. It originally started out as, if you don't know this, just reviews for Goosebumps books and things that are kind of like that, which is kind of what the channel is now, but it was mostly just scary horror kids books and stuff, like Took, or the Doll in the Box in the Garden, or whatever that book's called, from Mary Downing Hahn, I think is her name. Is that her name? Mary Downing Hahn? She's good. She's alright. Took is fantastic. Really, really scary book. kind of like a Hansel and Gretel witch type thing. But that's kind of what the channel started out as, was just reviewing kids' horror books, because I realized at one point that there's a lot more here than I realized. There's a lot of good content out there for kids' horror versus kind of what we're dealing with now. Middle grade horror is really good, it's just now it sucks. Like, you have stuff like that one book I talked about, the one that was an id ripoff. I don't remember what it was called, but it was pretty bad. It was a shame. It was filled with SJW politics, too. Anyway, hope everything is going well. Yeah, everything's going well. Appreciate that. I hope you're doing well, too. E.B., the original master. Favorite Goosebumps sequel? Probably Haunted Mask 2. That's a pretty great book. And Goosebumps 1 of the Haunted Mask is pretty great, too. I like both of those a lot. Number 2, which Goosebumps book you've read would you consider the darkest? One of the Haunted Mask and Zombie Halloween are both really dark. I mean, really dark. Ghost Camp is super dark. You Can't Scare Me is really dark, too. Really, really creepy stuff. Number 3, favorite Goosebumps cover from Series 2000. Slappy's Nightmare. No questions about it. Slappy's Nightmare. Next Q&A, I'll try to ask non-Goosebumps questions. That's fine, man. Anything you guys want to ask in this video or that video, do whatever you want. I don't care. Connor Bruce, number 1, what's your favorite Goosebumps cover of all time? Probably Not a Living Dummy, if I had to bet. Maybe Not a Living Dummy 3, one of those two. Number 2, what book would you really want to see in the new TV series? Maybe Ghost Camp. Ghost Camp's pretty great. I would also really like to see, apparently my camera's dying. Or not camera, my memory's filled up. How long have I been recording, man? 2 hours? I think we have a lot more time available than that. Probably Ghost Camp and that new series. I'd like to see that. Camp Jelly Jump could be cool, too. Number 3, do you think there will ever be a full reprint of the original series? No. Because of things like Chicken Chicken that nobody wants to read. That could be good. Has the potential, I guess. I've heard a lot of good things, but no. I don't think so. Thank you, God bless you. God bless you as well, Bruce. Connor Bruce. The next question I'm going to pick up on is Steven Chavez, my boy, who comments on a lot of stuff too. I'm really excited about that. Really cool guy. Hey everyone, it's Michael Goosebumps fan. You might be wondering why all of a sudden this video turned into me wearing a different shirt. Well, that's because it's a different day, my friend. It's been a couple of days since I recorded the first half or so of this video, the first 2 hours or so. My camera started losing memory. I thought I could record up to like 4 hours, apparently not. Apparently it's like an hour and 45 minutes and then it's done. So, yeah, I had to start up a new video. So I'm sorry about that. I had to pick up on some new things. I've noticed over the last couple of days we've gotten some more comments since the channel has officially hit 1,000 subscribers. For some reason, I think there's a little bit of a glitch because my channel's not going past 1,000. I'm not even getting the community post thing where I can make posts to you guys in the community and not have to make videos to communicate with you. Which is odd, because I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to get that at 1,000. Maybe it's 1,001, I don't know. But just thought I'd let you know that I'm not getting the community post option for some reason, which my other channel that used to be at 1,000 years ago, that's at like 980 now. It's a wasted channel, it's not really anything worthwhile. That one has community posts, so I don't know what's happened with this channel unless we're stuck on some kind of glitch or something. I don't know. It's a little odd. I don't understand what's happening. But anyway, I also forgot that my wife over here, she's a big crafter. She's not in the background, but my wife has like a crafty table with a big, beautiful light. I try to remember to use that. If I have videos that look really ugly and pale yellow, it's because I don't have that light on. So forgive me for that when I don't have it on. It's also blinding me right now. So if I go cross-eyed at any point when I happen to look at that corner of the room, now you know why. Anyway, we've had some new comments since the other day. One of my favorite newer YouTubers that I watch from the Goosebumps community is called Goosebumps Godzilla. Really cool theorist kind of guy. If you like in-closet Goosebumps fan, Goosebumps Godzilla makes those kinds of videos. I haven't watched a ton of them because he's one of the people who puts spoilers in his videos, and I've had a couple of books ruined for me, but I still love his content. Good, cool guy. Seems like a very down-to-earth guy. Cool content so far. I really like his work. I recommend it if you haven't seen him before, if you haven't seen his content before. Pretty cool guy. I'll get to his question in just a second. I want to take a sip of water. I'm going to try to finish up this Q&A today before my wife has to start working, because we had to go to the doctor in a day for her foot and stuff for the second time. And she's in a boot now, so that's pretty cool. It's cozy. Boots are cozy. If you haven't had a boot before on your foot when you've messed it up or sprained it or anything, it's pretty nice. I liked it a long time ago. I had it like 10 years ago. Alright. Goosebumps Godzilla asks, what modern Goosebumps book do you think should have an episode during the 90s? Like, taking place in the 90s? I don't know. Maybe Egg Monsters from Mars. That one's pretty 1990s-esque. I don't think you could really pull that off in today's setting with cell phones, aside from the kids taking pictures of the egg and putting it up on Instagram. Don't do that. Don't do that, Goosebumps. Let's see. Lou, how do you pronounce the following word? G-I-F. As I said to Lou, I pronounce it GIF. I don't care if it's supposed to be pronounced GIF. Doesn't matter to me. It looks stupid when you pronounce it GIF. My brain and my mouth want to say GIF, and I'm going to say GIF. So, but anyway, Lou agrees with me. There's not really a proper way to say it. So, everyone out there who feels deeply, deeply insulted by that, get over it. Okay. Lou asked another question. You finally reached 1,000. Oh, that's not it. Thank you, Lou, for support and always being here and commenting. It seems like a lot of people like Lou's comments. He's really fun. I like his sarcasm. He makes this channel more what it should be, I think. Anyway, man, that white light over there is making my shiny, big old forehead look so much bigger and shinier. I don't know. Joe Foley. I don't think did I start with this question the other day? Yeah, I think we already started with his question. Okay, so I'm going to go down here to Steven Chavez. I think is his name. Steven has always commented on my videos. He's a very cool guy. Seems like a very down-to-earth fella. I really like his content, or not content. I really like his comments, because he always finds, like, he doesn't just say, like, you know, generic type of things, like, hey, great video, really like this, can't wait to read it. A lot of people do that, and that's fine, whatever. But he always kind of puts some things in there like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this aspect, this theory, this video over here? You should go watch this. Recommends a lot of stuff to me. I really like that. Steven, thank you so much for your support on the channel as well, man. I see a lot of your comments. If I don't respond to all of them, I'm sorry. I get busy. I'm sorry. Good video. Also, congratulations on the channel. Thank you so much. My first question is, do you like to watch Sesame Street? No. Never been a fan of Sesame Street. I don't think I was a fan of Sesame Street when I was a kid either. I wasn't. I was more of a Muppets kid. I loved Muppet Babies, the cartoon about the Muppets when they were babies, especially the Valentine's Day VHS and the Star Wars VHS. That was great. I love the Star Wars episode of Muppet Babies. But that's 1980s. I don't think that was 1990s. I think it was 1980s. My second question is, have you played the Crash Bandicoot series? I have loved and adored the first one since PlayStation 1. I have not played the new re-release of them. I played a little bit of the second game, I think is what it was, for PS2, and I liked it. I didn't love it like the PS1 game. I still have the PS1 game, and I love it to death. It's fantastic. I think one of the scariest things I've ever experienced, going back to Lou's question earlier in this video from the other day, I talked about one of my most traumatizing moments of my life. One of the most traumatizing things I've also ever seen in my life was playing the first ever Crash Bandicoot, and you're on the medieval course, and that one guy struggles to swing that sword around, and then at one point, if you're too close and you're playing as Crash, of course, you get chopped in half and your freaking legs keep walking. You know how scary that was in a kid's cartoon video game? It scared me to death when I was a kid. Made me nervous. Absolutely made me nervous. Crash Bandicoot was scary for children, and I loved it to death. Loved it to death. It's so good. If you haven't played Crash Bandicoot, you're missing out. Big time. The music is so iconic, too. My third question is, would you like Egg Monsters from Mars to get a sequel? Absolutely. I would read that in a heartbeat. I think since it's R.L. Stine, it doesn't really count as a sequel. It'd probably be like a new Egg Monsters from Mars story with new characters and everything, because it's him. He doesn't really like doing direct sequels. But if he did a direct sequel, or not, I would read it, because I like Goosebumps. I like Egg Monsters from Mars. Thought it was a good book. I reviewed that a long time ago, like way early on the channel. Probably in like February or March of last year when we had the first month or so of the channel. That was one of the earliest reviews I did, up there with One Day at Horrorland and stuff. That's one of the reviews I did where I just had a picture on the screen and my voice on my microphone, on my Blue Yeti. Yeah, I love that book. I thought it was really solid. It was a really interesting Easter idea for an Easter Goosebumps book, of all things. Alright, my fourth question is, have you ever heard of DJ Solar channel on Goosebumps remixes? No, I've not. Is it any good? Might look into that. My last question is, would you like an Attack of the Jack-O-Lanterns sequel? Yeah, absolutely. I'd be cool with that. I'd read that in a heartbeat. I think most people would be down for that. I love the Halloween Goosebumps books. They can be some of the best out there, in my opinion. Alright, thank you so much, Steven. Fandom Fanboy, if you could create a Goosebumps book, what would be the title, cover, story, monster, and characters? I think I answered something sort of like this earlier in the video for you a couple of days ago for me, so I don't really remember everything I said and answered, but I'll try to delve into it a little bit. What would be the title? I really like Slappy books, but I think we're kind of overrun with that. I would kind of want the Haunted Mask Lives, the old Goosebumps Gold title that apparently doesn't exist according to R.L. Stine. It just has a picture and no real plot ever developed or written behind the scenes or anything. So I think I would kind of want the Haunted Mask Lives. I would want it to be a real Haunted Mask 3, but I guess if people that really focus on continuity, which doesn't really exist in YouTube, or Goosebumps, if you really wanted to focus on continuity, you could make it technically Haunted Mask 4, even though Goosebumps One of the Haunted Mask is technically Haunted Mask 4. But I mean tied to the Carly Beth story. I want more of that. Why do we have like a ton of Monster Blood books and stuff? I mean, again, if we did a Carly Beth book, how could we do it without it being a ripoff of The Usual type of thing? Even if you did it focused on her little brother Noah, it would still be kind of the same thing as what you could have done with Haunted Mask 2 with Steve and what's-his-face. So, I don't know. I just want another Haunted Mask book before R.L. Stine dies because I love Haunted Mask. I don't think Slappy World's going to get us another Haunted Mask book, but they've been doing a lot of throwbacks, like the new Monster Blood book coming out. A lot of Slappy books. I think it'd be cool to at least have one more Haunted Mask book, even if it's not great, even if it's just lackluster and bland, I would still be cool with that. My hair is, like, weird. I have poofy hair. I need a haircut again. Yeah, that's pretty much my whole thing. It would be Haunted Mask Lives. The cover would be a kid, kind of like the Tim Jacobus cover, just a kid trying to get this thing off, but the thing is almost acting like the Venom symbiote from Spider-Man a little bit, trying to, like, scream while it's on his face. I think that'd be kind of cool. Story, maybe Noah trying to get out of the mask. I don't know. I don't really care. I want another kid to be tortured by the Haunted Mask. What kind of mask would I develop for this time around? Okay, so we had the creepy ghoulish one. We had the old man mask. Then we had the other ones from Scream, the Scream of the Haunted Mask, and we also had the one from Goosebumps, One of the Haunted Mask, which to me were kind of the same thing as the original Carly Beth mask, if not the very same thing. Even though these were from another country and another part of the world, rather than just lab experiments gone wrong. I think if I had a pick for a new Haunted Mask idea, I haven't really thought about this. It's kind of on the spur of the moment. Let's see. We had the Creepy Ghoul, Old Man Mask. I don't know. I don't want to do like a Universal Monsters mask thing. You know, that'd just be kind of lazy at that point. If we were going to do something creative, maybe, I don't know, maybe a shop that has different monsters from the Goosebumps legacy, like Slappy Mask and that kind of thing, you know? Maybe something like that. That could be kind of neat, I guess, but the actual mask that the character would get would be something kind of customizable. Maybe something that, I don't know. You don't want to get too wacky. Because when I go to, like, Halloween stores and stuff, and I see masks that are too wacky, like they have a mouth on the forehead and that kind of thing, I think it's kind of dumb. Personally, I think it kind of just makes it look stupid. More stupid than it actually is. I don't want anything like that. I just want a scary mask. I don't know what I'd want it to be. I don't know. It's hard to come up with a good idea for a new Haunted Mask, because, you know, it works with the ghoulish mindset. If you wanted to do another book based around that, that'd be cool too. What kind of ideas would you have for a new Haunted Mask design down in the comments? I'd love to hear all that if you're still watching this long video from me. Which I apologize for all the rambling and stuff once again, because that always happens with this. Anyway, yeah, sorry about that fandom fanboy. I'm not good with coming up with things on the spot. I've been trying to plan a novel this week while I've been working on a particular job at work. I've had time while the machine's processing the pieces of plastic. I kind of just lean over here and I'll write some stuff down. And I've been working on a novel this week, just planning piece by piece and chapter by chapter. And it has kicked my tail, and I've realized very quickly what I've kind of known in the back of my head, that I am not a novelist. I'm a short story writer. So coming up with things on the spot, I can have a scene, right? Like I can have a couple of scenes that kind of tie together well, but coming up with a full-fledged story with a second act that is not filler or not just boring, you know, is hard to do. For me, at least. I'm not good with that. I think a lot of stories suffer from second act syndrome. A lot of novels especially. So not R.L. Stine so much, but most books that I read, most writers that I read, especially the horror genre. If it ain't a slasher book, it's pretty bad, second act wise. But anyway, moving along. Thank you, Fan and Fanboy, for your support, for being here on the channel, for your question. Or questions, I guess. Detective Bluto Mind Pretzel. That's an odd YouTube name. Alright, 3 questions. Number 1, what is your favorite Slappy World book at the moment? It's Alive, It's Alive. Really good read. I just finished today, by the way. My friend Slappy. I'm going to do a review on this after the Q&A gets uploaded. Hopefully you'll enjoy that. It's probably going to take forever to get that Q&A uploaded, so... yeah. Number 2, what was your reaction to the basketball scene in Say Cheese and Die Screaming? That was pretty insane, honestly. I liked it. I vaguely remember it, because it's been a couple of weeks. It's been about a month, I think, since I've read it. But I liked it. I thought it was a decent book. It was better than Say Cheese and Die Again, I think, from what I remember. I don't know. My memory goes pretty quick with some of these books. Goosebumps, as much as I love it, not all of it's memorable. I want to be honest about that. If I'm in the future talking in a review and I mention something about a previous book and it happens to be wrong or completely made up and not real, I promise you I read the book, I just forgot details, or I made up some details in my head that were not in the book. You know, even this time, this is like maybe the 3rd year in a row, about the 4th time that I've read Goosebumps One of the Haunted Mask this past October. And there was still stuff in there that I realized that I either forgot or did not realize was there when I read it the first 3 times. Like every single time. Like, for example, so the guy that's the shop owner in the prologue, I believe it said he has a black cape, and I was like, I don't remember him having a black cape. Is this the same guy from the first 2 books, from Carly Beth's and Steve's whole situation? No. And so it's kind of a situation where I was kind of realizing I'm dumb. You know, I forget things. As much as I like certain books out there, I forget a lot of details. Doom McKee by Stephen King, one of my favorite books of all time. So good. So good. So sad. Tragic, man. I felt like I just had some more heartbreak all over again, like I'm remembering a funeral for friends that I've lost in real life, but these are all fake people, at least to you. It's kind of the same situation there. It's like, I'll have books like that I love to death, and I will genuinely forget stuff. When I study my Bible, I still forget a lot of stuff, because I read the KJV, and it's a little bit more intricate and older, so it's harder to understand and remember a lot of the details that can help me when I talk to people about the gospel and that kind of thing. So I can't help it. I have a bad memory. God designed me that way. Alright, number 3. Can you review the Hall of Horror book, Why I Quit Zombie School and Most Wanted Special Edition 2, The Children, or 12 Screams of Christmas? Where did I get the word children at? I want to kind of, for whatever reason, I told Lou this the other day, and I told, I think it was Goosebumps Completionist I talked to about this as well. I just keep holding off on the Hall of Horrors books. I don't know why. I think I mentioned it in this video earlier on, a couple of days ago when I was recording, that I just keep holding off on that. I don't know why. I don't know, they look really good. I just kind of want to wait off on those and see if they're something I could end the channel on. Everybody wants me to talk about Hall of Horrors. There was one Hall of Horrors book that my grandmother bought. It was the 5 Masks of Dr. Scream, I believe is the title of the book. I don't have it here at my apartment, but I have it at my old house. And I'm trying to remember if that's the title, but that was the one that my grandmother actually got me that I have not read. And I've wanted to, but I just, for whatever reason, I just kept holding off on the Hall of Horrors books. I hope they're good. I want to read them really bad, but I'm just waiting off because I hope that they could end the channel on a really good note. So those may or may not be something that I read as the very last thing I talk about on this channel. I don't know. But God willing, I'll try to at some point. But I am excited for Why I Quit Zombie School. That sounds pretty cool. I think it's also a reference to an old Goosebumps, or Give Yourself Goosebumps book, the Choose Your Own Adventure style books. So I don't know. I could be wrong. Now, when it comes to Most Wanted Special Edition 2, The 12 Screams of Christmas, I plan on talking about that, God willing, this December for Christmas time. I don't know how much reading I'll get done this December. There's a lot of stuff I read every year, like The Christmas Candle by Max Lucado. I don't really like Max Lucado, but I really like that book, and I love the movie too. It's really good. The Nutcracker, from the guy who wrote the Three Musketeers. His name is totally surpassing me right now. What is his name? The guy that wrote Three Musketeers, man. You know who I'm talking about. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I plan on reading that for the first time. I got a copy last Christmas, and for whatever reason, I just never got around to reading it. I wanted to. I started it. I read like the first chapter, and I just didn't get through it. There's not a whole lot of Goosebumps, not Halloween, Christmas stuff. There's not really a whole lot of R.L. Stine and Christmas stuff either. So I'm going to try to read some of that stuff, but I don't really have a whole lot of time this month because I watch a lot of Christmas stuff, man. So you might get a couple of, holiday Christmas reviews from me on this channel probably in January. Maybe a little bit at the end of November. I'm not really sure. But I'm trying to maintain a lot of stuff and get a lot of stuff out of the way that I want to talk about, because I have a lot I love to consume at Christmas time. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for your questions, Detective Bluto Mind Pretzel. I'm going to take a drink of water. DC Nerd Reacts. Cool, he's got like 8 questions. Okay. Number 1, if you could make a Goosebumps story, what would it be called? Well, I already did that. Number 2, what is the best Batman movie you have ever seen? Dark Knight. And I also think, personally, I think Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice is, like, my favorite Batman movie because of Ben Affleck. I love the Ben Affleck Batman. I think he's just absolutely amazing. He is my Batman. However, Dark Knight is a better Batman movie. It is the best Batman movie. But I love all of them, pretty much. I think, okay, so this is my whole thing, right? Batman and Batman Returns, I love Tim Burton's darker stuff like that. The good dark stuff. Not the garbage Alice in Wonderland crap that he puts out. But stuff like that, stuff like Nightmare Before Christmas. I love his first 2, well, his only 2 Batman movies. I really do. I like the old Batman serials, what I've seen of them. I really like those as well. Let's see. Batman Forever, I don't love. And Batman and Robin, I love in a nostalgic way. I know it's a terrible, terrible movie. I still have toys to this day from Batman and Robin. I don't care what you say. That movie was made and marketed towards kids to sell toys. Look at the Batman and Robin toy commercials, okay? Go on YouTube and look those up. That movie was made to make toys for kids. And I will tell you, you say whatever you want. You talk to a lot of kids in the 90s that lived in the 90s like myself, we'll tell you straight up, Batman and Robin was the thing when we were kids. We all loved that movie. All of us. All the kids did. I know parents hated it, and I get that. I know that they enjoyed Batman and Batman Returns a whole lot more, because they are higher quality films. I agree with that. Batman and Robin, I own like 4 copies of. I have a Blu-ray. I have my old VHS tape that I love the most, because I love that fuzziness that VHS can sometimes have, depending on what copy you're watching of what movie. I love Batman and Robin. I think it's a really solid, colorful, crazy little kids Batman movie. I love George Clooney. George Clooney would have been such a good Batman if they'd put him in a real, actual Batman movie. I know he's not the best. He can't really divide Bruce Wayne from Batman. He didn't really have to, because it was a kid's movie. It didn't really matter. Moving along, I love Batman Begins. I think it's much more enhanced by The Dark Knight and how great The Dark Knight is. The Dark Knight, fantastic. Dark Knight Rises, I hate. I think there's a couple of good things about it. I think from the beginning of the premise about skipping 8 years ahead, that Batman's just stopped being Batman. Not only is that the most un-Batman thing I've ever heard of in my life, but also it becomes a thing where I'm just pissed off the fact that, you know, Tom Hardy's so great as Bane, but I'm so pissed off the fact that they made Batman into just this selfish thing. And I know the point of the film is him getting back on his feet, getting back out there, and doing his thing. But by the end of the film, that's pointless, because he goes back into what he did before, between Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. So what's the point? That movie is so what irritates me, that movie to me, it doesn't slap the face of Batman as a legacy, as a character, as an event, as a comic, any of those things. It disrespects Batman as a character. It does not ruin Batman, like how Star Wars was ruined by The Last Jedi, and the politics surrounding The Last Jedi, and the politics surrounding the industry of Lucasfilm now with Kathleen Kennedy and all these idiots there. It wasn't that kind of thing where it ruined everything, but it ruined that trilogy. And I will defend that until the day I die, because for people who don't know, originally Christopher Nolan was only supposed to make The Batman Begins and The Dark Knight as the beginning of the current Batman universe and movies. There was supposed to be like a 7-film series at that point, I believe is what I read, or 10 films, something like that. But you know, a lot of film series like Transformers and stuff, they get signed on like that, where they're supposed to have this big, huge, like 10-film pitch, just because everything's focused on having a series now rather than one really good movie. Universal Monsters will never get this, ever. They don't understand. Dark Knight Rises really pisses me off, because it's just, it's so bad. It's such a bad movie. I don't know. I can't get over it, because, again, Tom Hardy is so good, and the way they ruin Bane at the end of that movie, and do the same thing Batman and Robin did about throwing him to the side, making him a henchman, still pisses me off. To this day, I will never let that go to any end. I will never let that go. You had to understand what it was like when I was in middle school and Dark Knight came out, and what that was like. It changed everything, about movies, about superhero movies. I grew up in the golden age of superhero movies. X-Men, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, as bad as those are. Those types of things. I grew up around the iconic things that came out. And then 4 years after Spider-Man 2, we get Dark Knight. And also in the same year, we get Iron Man, which are two completely different films, but are extremely well made, I mean. Dark Knight Rises is an insult. And the fact that the year that came out, you also had Avengers, which I still don't like that much. I still don't understand why Avengers is so celebrated. I think Civil War and I think Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2, whatever, Endgame, all that, I think are way better than the first Avengers film. I think the first Avengers film, people are starting to realize I was right, and it's not as good as people remember it was. It wasn't as good when it came out. It's just people liked it because it was dumb fun, and that's fine, whatever, if you like that, but it wasn't what I wanted it to be. It wasn't anything intellectual. And on top of that, Amazing Spider-Man, the first one of those two movies, the second film I don't like. I think it's awful. But the first film came out in 2012 as well, along with Dark Knight Rises, Avengers, all about the same time, within a couple of months span of each other. And Amazing Spider-Man, I will defend to this day, is better than both of those movies. I don't care if it's not perfect. It definitely ain't perfect. But to me, it's still my favorite Spider-Man film. And it's also easily the best performance of Spider-Man / Peter Parker, in my opinion. I think Andrew Garfield is easily the best of both. I know we're getting really far away from the Batman discussion, but I'm just saying, the year that came out, the fact that I thought a Spider-Man movie was better than the Christopher Nolan sequel to Batman Dark Knight, or Dark Knight, whatever you want to call it, and better than the Avengers, which everyone had been looking forward to for like 5 years at that point. That should speak volumes about my taste. It's not a low standards thing at that point. It's just being realistic and actually calling quality what it is. Anyway, moving along from Dark Knight Rises, then we had Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice. I'm a huge Man of Steel fan. I'm not even that big of a Superman fan, but I love Man of Steel. I think it's a fantastic film. I think we'll never get another Superman film as good as that. Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, I think, is incredibly great. I don't care if we're talking about theatrical cut or ultimate cut. I think both are just wonderful, wonderful movies. I think Zack Snyder is a fantastic director. I cannot believe how insulting people feel and act towards Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice. It's just incredibly dark. I think Ben Affleck is the best Batman we've ever gotten. I think Henry Cavill is the best Superman we've ever gotten. I want this new Batman film to succeed with Robert Pattinson, because he looks great in the costume. The movie looks amazing. It really does. I'm really stoked for it. I like that we're going for a Christopher Nolan type thing again, but more grungy, almost like a mixture between Gotham, the TV show, and, you know, Dark Knight. I love that. I love the Riddler being the villain. We finally get something different here. I'm super stoked for that. I'm hoping I can call that the best Batman film next. I really hope that we can go that way. But for now, again, Dark Knight I think is the best Batman movie. After all that rambling for like 10 minutes, I think Batman Dark Knight is the best Batman movie. I think Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice is the best Batman on screen. Easily. No doubt about it. Even though Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice is a really good blend and a mixture of being almost a movie about Batman's almost racism kind of thing and his fear towards a godlike being. I love that. As a Christian, I love that. I really like that aspect of it. I think it's almost more focused on Batman in that movie than it is Superman, even though it's a versus movie. But I think both have incredible character arcs in that movie, in my opinion. But, yeah, that's how I feel. I love Batman vs. Superman more than Dark Knight, but I think Dark Knight is the best solo Batman movie. You can't beat that film. It's just, you have no idea what it was like to see that when it came out in theaters and how much it blew people's minds. Anyway, moving along. I'm sorry for all the rambling, man. I'm a big Batman fan, if you can't tell. Number 3. Will you ever review a movie from the Dark Knight trilogy? Well, on my other channel, Strange Michael, I haven't talked about them yet. At some point I want to do a Batman marathon and just talk about everything. Everything from the movie serials to the film releases, all that stuff. In celebration of the new Batman film coming out in freaking 2022. I'm still pissed that it got delayed again. Can you believe that? So I'll probably do that one day on that channel. Not on this channel, though. It won't happen on this channel because this is a Goosebumps-focused channel. It's not a thing like Goosebumps, so it ain't gonna happen here. But it will happen on that at some point. God willing. Number 4. What is your favorite pizza place? Oh, man. There is one place we have here in the South. I don't know if it's anywhere in the North. I think it kind of is, probably. It's called Mellow Mushroom Pizza. Mellow Mushroom Pizza is phenomenal. They have different types, and one of my favorites ever that me and Rachel got, she had it many times before me and her started dating, and one time we went into one place out in Virginia, and she took me to this one, and it's over where her and her family used to go all the time and stuff. And when we went there, we got this one. It was a buffalo chicken pizza, right? And I didn't like buffalo chicken at this time. I was a chicken person. I hadn't had buffalo chicken before. Now, this is what got me into buffalo chicken, not just these customizable pizzas. Up to this point, I only ate pepperoni pizza and cheese pizza, right? Never had anything else other than that. Didn't like Supreme, didn't like Meat Trio and all that garbage. Not garbage, I like it now, but at that time I thought it was garbage. Buffalo chicken pizza. It was buffalo chicken, of course, with their homemade sauce and stuff. It was ranch dressing kind of strewn here and there, which I love ranch. I always have loved ranch. Caramelized onions, which if you're not an onion person, caramelized onions from Mellow Mushroom, they add so much to that pizza. It adds something there that is not just onion. It's not crunchy onion. It's like almost, I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like on the verge of being squishy, but not really. But it adds like a sweetness to that actual food. I don't know how to explain it, but the way they make their crust out there, and this probably sounds per usual to most people, but it's really not here in Virginia, to me at least, from most pizza places I get food from. It's actually like the crust is covered with just Parmesan cheese. Just not like melted, but just kind of dumped on there. And that adds so much to this place. On top of that, at this place, my sweet wife and I, not too long ago, about maybe 2 or 3 months ago, before we got married, we went out there. We wanted an appetizer. We had a lot of gift cards out there. We wanted a really big dinner. Now, it's expensive. You get a large pizza, it's like $25. It's pretty pricey out there. Pretty big pizza, too. But we decided to get an appetizer that day. We were starving that day. And, you know, this gut does not scream starving. But we got pretzels. They're homemade pretzels. Now, I love pretzels. Don't get me wrong. I love some pretzels. These were like their homemade recipe. And we got beer cheese. Now, beer cheese I had never had until this point. And that was absolutely amazing. It was freaking delicious, man. I mean, it was like the best pretzel I've ever had in my life. I stand by that, too. But Mellow Mushroom Pizza, if you're ever in the South or you happen to live in the South, you haven't been to this place before, yeah, it's a little pricey, but you won't leave dissatisfied. I don't think you will. It's absolutely fantastic. But don't be one of those people that go into a pizza restaurant and order freaking, like, pasta. Don't be that guy. You know, my mom, I told her about how great that place was. We had a birthday party there one time for my sweet wife many years ago. And it was before I started this channel. My mom and her boyfriend at the time came to this place. My mom ordered a salad and then complained about how the food wasn't that great out there. I was like, you didn't even have anything that's their special. It's a pizza place. You get the pizza when you go to the pizza place. You want pasta, go to the Italian restaurant over here who doesn't really make that much pizza. Don't be that guy, ever. For young folks out there, don't turn into that Karen person out there. I'm just laughing. My mom, you're not a Karen. I like to mess with you. Okay, now that I'm in trouble, let's move on. She won't watch this 4-hour-long video. Who cares? Who is your favorite comic villain? Probably Joker. Probably Joker, but I also love Venom, but Venom doesn't have many good comics. He's just kind of a fun character that always has terrible stories he's in, and that's kind of sad, but I love the Joker. Number 6. Do you think making a PG-13 Goosebumps movie would be good? I think it serves better for scary stories to tell in the dark than it would Goosebumps. I think that you'd never, ever, ever be able to get away with something like the prologue from Zombie Halloween or from Goosebumps 1 of the Haunted Mask. You'd never get that on TV, and you would never, ever get away with that in a movie for Goosebumps. I don't think it'd be a wise decision to make it PG-13. I think you should make a scary PG film. The problem is that a scary PG movie used to be things like Poltergeist. Poltergeist was like a PG movie at the time. Or is it G? It was PG, I think, at the time. I don't think there was a PG-13. I think it was G, PG, and then R. In the US, at least. To me, a scary PG movie would be Poltergeist. You can show it to your kids, kind of a family horror film. It's pretty scary, it's gory. At one point, with the mirror scene, oh, that's some scary stuff, man. I don't even like that movie that much, but that scene has always traumatized me since I was a kid. But I think if you're going to go the Poltergeist route, maybe you could do something frightening. But other than that, no. This chair squeaks a lot. It squeaks a lot. I know it sounds like I'm farting on camera. I promise you I'm not. Okay. Number 7, will you review some of the Haunting Hour episodes? I love Haunting Hour. I have not finished it yet. I've watched probably maybe 25% of the show. Maybe a whole season of the show. Maybe a season and a half. Somewhere in that ballpark. I think it was like 3 seasons long, I believe. Maybe 3. Somewhere in that ballpark. I think I've watched maybe almost 25 to 50% of that show. Somewhere in that ballpark. I really like it. It's a really good show. I recommend it highly if you love Goosebumps. It's like a modern Goosebumps from a few years ago. Really good show. But I probably won't talk about individual episodes. I don't know. If it's recommended enough in the future, I probably will, maybe. But it's also the same problem I fall into with Twilight Zone and Tales from the Dark Side. I don't think there's enough demand for that on a Goosebumps YouTube channel to warrant talking about individual episode-by-episode reviews. I don't think there's enough of a community out there, honestly, for that individual property, whether it be Twilight Zone, Tales from the Dark Side, Tales from the Crypt, any of those things that warrant specifically talking about each individual actual episode and stuff. It's not like Star Trek, you know. Star Trek you could do that with. There are huge Trekkie fans that will listen to absolutely any content out there at all and probably enjoy it. So you could do that with, like, Star Trek. Twilight Zone's kind of died out, and it's sad, but it's the truth. And I have to be honest with you, it's the truth. So it's not really worth the time when it comes to something like that, or when it comes to Haunting Hour and reviewing individual episodes. There is episodes like the Lily D episode that still gets to me to this day, years after I've seen it, and it really is great. Haunting Hour is a really good show. Alright, number 8, the final question. Have you played Goosebumps, the game released in 2015? I have. Really scary. Really, really scary. The music is fantastic in that game, man. Really good. I'm not a big point-and-click game fan, even though that's most of the DS's, you know, kind of base for games. It's kind of based around touch and touch screen. But, I really love that game. I think it's probably the... you know, Lou reminded me the other day when I reviewed Attack of the Mutants PC game. I forgot about Goosebumps the game from back in the day. And I forgot how scary and frightening that game was. And it's wonderful. So, if you haven't played Goosebumps the game, you should play that, but... yeah. I would like to review that at some point on the channel, too. I just have to, at some point, watch a walkthrough, because I'm terrible at the game. I'll never finish it. So, patience, my friend. Anyway... I did play it all the way through one time. Not play it, but watched a walkthrough when I finished at one point, because I couldn't beat a certain area. I couldn't find where I needed to go. I don't know why, but I couldn't. Alright, Billa107. Which Slappy Series 2000 book is better, Bride or Nightmare? Nightmare is better until the last chapter. I've said that over and over again. I will defend that until the day I die. The last chapter of that book ruins that book. But Bride is a great book, too. I really like that, and I love the episode. I think I like the episode more, though. I have a lot of memory towards that episode, not the book. I only read the book the one time when I reviewed it here on the channel. So, yeah. Which living dummy protagonist had it the worst from Slappy or Mr. Wood? Probably Slappy. Slappy's been through a whole lot. Like, a lot. Yeah. Number 3, which Goosebumps book do you think is the most overrated and underrated? The most overrated Goosebumps book, to me, is probably going to be, let me think for a second. I'm going to drink some water while I think about this and let my mouth relax for a second. I got to check the time, too. Okay, 10:04. I should have a little bit of time to do what I need to do with this. Most overrated. The most underrated is One Night in Pain House. Easily. That and Haunted Mask 2. I love both of those. I think Goosebumps Wanted the Haunted Mask is getting a lot of love because it's still out there. You can still get it in bookstores, even though it's about 10 years, or not 10 years old, but it's about, I think it came out in like 2013 or 12, somewhere in there. So it's about 8 years old or so, almost 9, somewhere in that ballpark. So you can still get that in the stores. I can still find copies of that in Barnes & Noble and whatnot, even though I hate that store. But something like Haunted Mask 2 that is pretty infrequent when it comes to going to like Barnes & Noble and stuff for some reason. It just came out not even too long ago, maybe 2 years ago. You can't find that one, as popular as it is. Everybody loves Haunted Mask 1 and 2, and you can barely find them in the stores. And I don't think it's because people are going and buying them. I think Barnes & Noble doesn't have copies of them. They shouldn't be out of print. They're fantastic. So, I don't know. Even the reissue covers look great. So, why would they take those out of stock? I don't know. Most overrated. I have the list on my phone of the books in order of how I feel. I'll look at what I think on this and see if I can remember something I'm not thinking of right now. Let's see. What do we have here? A Nightmare on Clown Street is probably the most overrated. I just saw that listed on the bottom somewhere in there. I don't hate Nightmare on Clown Street. I want to make that very clear. I do not hate Nightmare on Clown Street. I think it's just extremely, extremely overrated. It's so good, and like the last like 5 chapters are terrible. They're so rushed. It should have been a special edition book and been fleshed out more. It's not that the ending is bad in the sense of, like, it's a little too otherworldly and wild to me for what the story actually is, in concept and in focus for a circus event, which we don't really have many books focused on that in Goosebumps. You have the one Give Yourself Goosebumps book, and that's about all I remember circus-wise for Goosebumps. So to go from, like, a story about a kid going to his uncle's circus and working there, hearing about this thing called Clown Street, and to go to the wild ending at the end of that thing, I don't like it. It's really, it feels lazy and rushed to me, and I don't enjoy that. So that's probably my most overrated in my opinion, because I get a lot of flack on that. I get like a lot of flack, a lot of dislikes on that video all the time because people are so pissed about that review. So, yeah. My boy Spongy. Number 1, which Goosebumps ripoff series are you most interested in finally reading? I've read a bunch from some, and my favorites are Strange Matter and Spooksville. I'm really excited about Shivers. I really like the colors, and I really like the covers of Shivers. They look really good. I really hope they're good. I have a lot of those so far. Number 2, what are some of your favorite Goosebumps covers? Oh man, they've got so many of them. The Haunted Mask covers, again, for the original 2, and the new reissues from the last few years. I love those. The original dummy covers, everything leading up to like Slappy's Nightmare, I think are really, really great looking. Even the reissue of Bride looks really good. I think pretty much my favorites in general are anything Tim Jacobus did. I think all of Tim Jacobus are really good, even for the bad books. I think the covers look really good. Even covers like Egg Monsters from Mars or My Best Friend is Invisible, they look like they'd be kind of... You would, if I described them to you, like, hey, there's a floating piece of pizza in the air, you would think they suck. You know, you'd think if you haven't seen them yet that they'd suck. But then you see them and you're like, I want a whole comic book focused around that art style. Why is Tim Jacobus not an art in like Marvel or DC? He could really save a lot of that, I think. But that's my opinion. Alright, I'm having to keep an eye on my battery up here too. If I have to plug it in, then I'll plug it in, but I think I left the other part of the charger out there. I hope I don't have to make this into 3 recording parts. That would suck. Let's see. Okay, so that was Spongy's other question. Preston Thing. Number 1, what's your favorite Give Yourself Goosebumps book that you've read? Either Little Comic Book Shop of Horrors or One Night in Pain House. Both are completely different. Little Comic Book Shop of Horrors is a mixture of comic book comedy, and then also on the other end, Universal Monsters terror. Absolutely terror. It scared me to death. Love that book. I think it's one of the best books Goosebumps and R.L. Stine have ever put out, easily from the whole brand. The other one, One Night in Pain House, is absolutely terrifying. It has its comedic moments, but it's absolutely creepy. From beginning to end, it's creepy, and I love it to death. Number 2, what was the best place that you've traveled? I love Myrtle Beach in South Carolina. If you haven't been there, really nice. It's kind of getting a little dingy, though. The last couple of years that I went, I haven't been this year. Well, this year's pretty much almost over. But you know what I mean. I didn't go this year because I went on my honeymoon and stuff. I had to work. Didn't have the time to do both for honeymoon and the beach trip. Rachel and I are kind of talking about either going to the beach or going back to Tennessee next year for the summertime. So, I don't know. We'll kind of think about it and see what happens, God willing. But, you know, God will do his thing, and if we have the money to go, we'll do that. So, that'd be cool. We're trying to save up for a house, though. I'm hoping we don't have to skip for vacation next year and be able to get a house. You know, that'd be kind of neat. But, you know, it's kind of... You have to be careful when you're an adult and manage money. So, you know, I try to do better about that now that we're married. I try not to be as reckless as I used to be. Anyway, yeah, Myrtle Beach. I really like Myrtle Beach. I'm not a fan of the water. I'm not scared of water. I'm not a fan of the ocean. I don't like fish. Okay, so I stay away from that. I stay up on the beach and I enjoy that, even though I'm chubby. Number 3, will you ever do a video game review on the video game Goosebumps Horrorland? Okay, so me and a lot of people told him to. In case you don't happen to know this and you happen to be watching this video, not just you, Preston, but anybody else who happens to be watching this, I do have an older review for the PS2 version of Goosebumps Horrorland. Really good game. I really liked it a lot. It was a really fun game. Maiku Villarreal. I can never say Maiku's last name. I'm sorry, dude. I'm trying my best here. He's a big Jurassic Park fan, by the way. That's pretty cool. Here are my questions. Do you hate modern SpongeBob? I do not. I love all SpongeBob. I haven't seen much of the newer stuff because I don't have cable. I just kind of watch one of those TV antenna things, and, you know, it is what it is. But I like SpongeBob, just across the board, I do. I'm kind of pissed what they did with him, like I said earlier in this video, about what they did to him after his creator died. I'm still pissed about that. It's whatever. What's your least favorite episode of SpongeBob? Probably the one where they were like cavemen. You know, I just for some reason I never liked that one that much. I don't know. Oh, I skipped for a second. Sorry. Why do you hate the Jurassic Park sequels? I despise them. I think they're all boring and stupid. Every single one of them. I haven't liked the second one. I haven't liked the third one. I thought I'd like Jurassic World the same year that Terminator Genisys came out. Love Terminator Genisys. It's my favorite Terminator film at this current point. I know that sounds like blasphemy, but I do. And then Jurassic World came out. Not even, it was either like a week before or the week after that Terminator came out. And I hated it. I thought it sucked too. It was just... I don't know. I haven't even seen the new one, the fifth one. I haven't even bothered because I don't want to. I love the first movie. The first movie is fantastic. I hate the sequels, dude. Every single one of them. And the second and third ones, they started out with a little bit of a kind of interesting kind of sequel bait for me. And then it just lost me. I was done. I don't care. I'll never probably ever watch the sequels ever again. I kind of hope I don't have to. I might for the other channel, Strange Michael, where I review movies. Horror movies, because those are technically like sci-fi horror movies, kind of fantasy-ish, not really. I'll probably talk about those at some point, but it's going to be a while. I have a lot of stuff I'd rather talk about than the Jurassic Park sequels. Anyway, moving along, Maiku, I'm sorry, dude. I know you love Jurassic Park, and God bless you. You're always so supportive with the channel. I really appreciate that, but Jurassic Park ain't my thing. I never grew up on that either. I only saw the first film, or the first three films, probably 5, 6, 7 years ago. I never grew up on them, so I don't really know what it was like to do that. It's probably a better idea not to either, because the first film's scary. It really is. Hey Michael, if you love SpongeBob, have you checked out this channel called Pie Guy Rules? I used to be subscribed to him many years ago. I stopped watching him. He just kind of... He seems, or at least he seemed at the time, more aimed towards kids. And I don't hate that. It's just kind of like... I don't know, I felt like I was too old for the channel, so I just stopped watching. But I liked Pie Guy. He seemed like a nice guy. He reviews every episode from seasons 1 through 10. He does other stuff, actually. How big is your Goosebumps collection for this year? It's pretty big. I mean, I have all the books ever published, pretty much. But I haven't really been buying a whole lot of Goosebumps books this year. I bought hardcovers like I showed earlier in the year. That's about it. Haven't really stocked up on a whole lot of other stuff. Don't really need to either. I don't really have the room here. If we ever have a house, I probably won't have the room there either. So I kind of have to keep my collection scattered a little bit. In my apartment currently, I have like one bookshelf that's 3 shelves that has most of those Goosebumps books there. But the ones I have not read are pretty much all stocked up at my old house. You know, I have a couple of books here that I haven't read yet for future things. I have some time to grab them up. I really miss some Give Yourself Goosebumps books. I might pick those up at some point and start reading some of those. Especially now that I finished the last Slappy World book that just came out, My Friend Slappy. But, yeah. Have you watched Back to the Future? Absolutely. I love Back to the Future. If you have, what's your favorite movie in the trilogy? You know, I always hear people trash the third movie, and I really like the third film, but my favorite is still the first movie because it has to deal with Marty and his parents, and it feels like it's more... All three of those movies feel very good conceptually. They feel like they didn't need to be a trilogy, but they are a good trilogy. Every single one of them. I feel like that with the Matrix sequels and the Matrix trilogy. The third film's a little weak. It kind of takes a little while to get going, but I think it's still good overall. It's kind of the same way I feel with the Back to the Future films. I think all three are really good. Much better than Matrix films altogether in total. They all feel like their own good movies. You could see the first two individually by themselves. You could see the third film by itself and still be having a good time. You might not get all the inside jokes that all the films have in the sequels that kind of reference back to the first film, but I like all of them. I think they're all really good. First film's my favorite because mainly, and it just kind of boils down to this, the dad is a writer, or he wants to be a writer. Crispin Glover's character. And he's just great. Michael J. Fox is so funny as Marty McFly. I love him to death. He's so good. And of course, Christopher Lloyd as Dr. Brown. He's great. I love Doc Brown, one of my favorite characters. We actually have this place in Virginia, this kind of clock tower place across from another kind of little restaurant my wife and I love that looks just like the clock tower in Back to the Future, and I always talk about it. Every time we go to that restaurant, I talk about that place because you can see it out the windows. And it just looks so much like it. It's so weird. Anyway, yeah. Love Back to the Future, man. If you haven't seen that, really good. Probably not for younger viewers, but it's pretty great. Grayson the Goosebumps Kid, my boy. I haven't talked to you in a long time. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Hi, Michael. Number 1, what is your favorite Goosebumps villain? Probably Slappy. I love Slappy and I love the Haunted Mask. Easily Haunted Mask is great, for real. Number 2, what have been some of the most underrated books of Goosebumps? Well, I kind of talked about some of the most underrated, for me, have been some of the One Night at Pain House. Ghost Camp is extremely underrated. I'm still pissed off about that. Attack of the Mutant gets a lot of attention, so I don't really want to call that underrated, but I don't hear the casual person out in the world that does not read Goosebumps and is not part of the community that much. I don't hear them talk about Attack of the Mutant, so they probably don't even know it exists. So outside of the community, stuff like Attack of the Mutant, stuff like Not a Living Dummy 3, everybody remembers the original cover, nobody talks about the third one outside of the community. Goosebumps 1 of the Haunted Mask, big time underrated. Haunted Mask 2, big time underrated, like I said. Number 3, will you ever bring back your Vanished Whispers show? For anybody who doesn't know what that is, basically at one point I was going to do kind of individual stories maybe once a month of my Goosebumps stories, and I can't do it. I can't do it. My old laptop died a long time ago, and I lost everything. I lost the intro that I had developed and everything. I was really pissed off about that. So I don't have any of that. I don't want to go back and remake it and stuff. It's really not worth the time and effort to do that. I've had people like Lou that I've talked to in the comments before about possibly, especially during October, maybe doing like one story at the end of the month, each month, that I narrate and have written and stuff. Because you have to do it that way. You can't do it illegally and do one that's copywritten. Even the creepypasta community is kind of a little tense about that kind of thing now, so you have to be kind of careful. But, yeah, it probably... Vanished Whispers probably won't come back. I wish it would, because I really liked that, and I really love the music I had designed too, man. Oh, I love that intro trailer thing that I made a long time ago. But yeah, the intro's gone. So it's not worth trying to recreate. Especially in the new editor that I have. I think it's... What is it called? I can't remember what it's called. The new editing system that I have is not Sony Vegas like I had on the old computer, so it's kind of a lame letdown. I think is it Shotcut? It's not that that's a bad editing system. I love that system. It's very easy for what I'm doing, but it's hard to do it the way I would have done it with Sony Vegas, where I already had my options and my intro and all that. It's a little bit more difficult to use compared to that, a little bit slower in some ways, but I do love Shotcut. I don't want to insult that. I am thankful that I have Shotcut, because I can make my reviews with the picture and the microphone only, audio only, for my Strange Michael movie reviews and stuff, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm sorry, dude, I can't bring back Vanished Whispers. It's probably never going to happen. I was really looking forward to it, though. I had a blast when I was setting that up. I was really excited about that, and yeah, it's that's just life, you know, it happens. Number 4, what are some of your favorite Goosebumps episodes? Not a Living Dummy 3, absolutely my favorite. Haunted Mask 1 and 2, I love to death. Attack of the Mutant are great. Don't Wake Mummy is fantastic. I can't believe that was not repeated all the time on TV. That was such a scary episode, man. When I saw that for the first time when I reviewed it here on the channel, after I read the short story book and everything from Tales to Give You Goosebumps, I was amazed by how good that story and that episode were. Outside of that, I don't remember a whole lot of episodes that are really like big ones that I love. I love Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns. I love Scarecrows Come Alive, or Scarecrows Come Alive. Scarecrows Walk at Midnight, or Scarecrow Walks at Midnight, whatever it's called, even though there's more than one Scarecrow, that is, not episodes. But the two-parters are always like the best ones. I love the Monster Blood episodes too, those are really good. Rachel saw that for the first time. That was the first time she had ever seen Goosebumps stuff before, like episode-wise. And she liked it too, especially because of the dog and the airplane and stuff. That was really cool too. Welcome to Dead House is fantastic as a two-parter. I remember when I was younger, I have the DVD still of Werewolf of Fever Swamp. I haven't seen it in many years, like 10 years, 15 years, somewhere in that ballpark. But I loved that two-parter. That was so great. The special effects were great. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great episodes out there that I really enjoy. Yeah. Number 5, could you try to read these books? These are some of the bad ones. I recommend getting them out of the way. Lou ain't gonna be happy. Chicken, How I Learned to Fly. Vampire Breath. I will try to get around to those at some point. I realized the other day, I don't know if I mentioned earlier in this video that I recorded part of the other day, I think that I've read like 39 out of the 62 original Goosebumps books, the classic series. I think I'm spitting places. I think I saw some spit fly out of my mouth just now. Sorry if you had to see that nastiness. I'm going to try to get through as much as I can. You know, I want to kind of finish up the classic series next year, but I have other things I want to read too. It might be another year or two before I can get through all the classic stuff all together and get it done. So, just bear with me, folks. I'm sorry. Number 6. Here are some better books. Please read these. Piano Lessons Can Be Murder. Lou always talks about that. I know the episode's supposed to be pretty good too, from a lot of people talking about it. Beast from the East. I don't have a whole lot of interest in Beast of the East, or Beast from the East, but I plan on reading it at some point. I hope it's good. I hope it's a surprising one. A lot of people talk about that. I've been surprised by how many people I've had recommend that to me. Beware of the Snowman. I plan on doing that, of course, this Christmas. Legend of the Lost Legend is like one of the first Goosebumps books I ever got. I've heard that that's supposedly a Christmas story too, I believe, from what I read somewhere. So I'll try to read that probably in December as well. Other than that, yeah, I'll probably talk about a couple of these this year. God bless, Michael. God bless you too, Grayson, my boy. Okay, so we're almost done. We're almost done. I almost get to relax for the rest of the day. Can you do a vid on The Dummy Meets the Mummy? I actually, oh, by the way, this is Anthony Stefani. Maiku, thankfully, commented to him and told him, like, hey, I already, or he, as in me, already reviewed that and talked about it. So yeah, Anthony, I have a review out there for Dummy Meets the Mummy. Really good book. Liked it for the most part. Pretty goofy ending, but everything else is pretty good. The Duke of Arts. Hello, congratulations. Your Goosebumps videos are triple great, great, great. Speaking of which, I've uploaded a new Halloween video on YouTube for Halloween tomorrow. I thought you might be interested in watching it. As the Duke of Arts, I hope you like it. Oh yeah, I talked to this guy. He was nice. Very friendly, very cool, interesting content. When you look up the Duke of Arts, if you're going to do that, it's spelled A-R-T-Z. So yeah, if you want to check out his content, it's pretty nice. I liked it. Champa Hossein, I think is how you say his name. First one, I hope you remember me. I commented on a couple of your videos anyway. Congrats. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support. Thank you for being part of the 1,000 here, if you still are. I don't know. You might have left by now. I don't know. The Real Minion Boy, one of the OGs. One of the OGs on this channel. So what is your favorite Goosebumps episode if you haven't said it? Night of the Living Dummy 3. Absolutely. I've said it like 500 times in this video. I know you probably already heard it, but I love it. It's great. Rainbow Drops. Nice. Can't wait to get you, or can't wait when you get to 1,000 subs. Thank you so much. Alright, folks. I think that wraps up the 1,000 subscriber Q&A video. I'm sorry it's so long. I'm sorry it's so filled with so many rambles. I think when we get to 1,250 subscribers, I think I'm going to go through the comments on that announcement video when I make it many years down the road. Whenever we get there. It might not be that long from now. I don't know. If it comes a little quick, I'll still try to get to 120 or 1,250. I'll probably try to do a Q&A there as well. My thought that Rachel had an idea as well is that she may or may not read the questions to me, but I think I will go through and kind of pick out questions so I don't have to keep repeating the same answer over and over again. I feel like if I don't have to keep repeating myself a lot, I feel like it'll help with not having to answer the same questions over and over again, waste more screen time. But I feel bad because at the same time I want to help out with you guys and answer all your questions. So if you ask anything, again, Goosebumps stuff, any of that stuff, anything you want to ask me, movie-wise, outside of Goosebumps, anything, I'll answer all of it. So if you put it in the comments for whenever that announcement video happens, of course, I will answer those questions. So I hope you had a good time listening to me ramble for 4 hours. Yeah. I'm going to try to get a review for Goosebumps Slappy World, my friend Slappy, done after this video at some point. This is going to be a very long upload. It's going to take a while to get this done, so bear with me. It's going to take a little while. But for people who are here, again, thank you for making it through the video if you wanted to. Thank you for being around, and God bless you. May the Lord Jesus Christ bless you. Thank you for all your support. Again, 1,000 subscribers. I don't deserve the support that you guys give me. You guys are so great. I'm so, again, like I said at the beginning of the video that I recorded the other day, thank you so much for being around in my life. Thank you for being a part of my life and with my wife and her life. I'm not even going to touch that. Thank you for being part of our lives together. This channel is not just mine, it's hers as well. And I'm thankful that she is as supportive as she is. She's such a wonderful wife. And then having you guys here too, you make it even better. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for being a part of my life. And again, God bless you. And hopefully you'll keep tuning in and subscribing and watching and recommending and all that stuff. Goodbye.